What you doing? All right, you good? Y'all ready? Fam, we about to get started in a minute, fam. This gonna be a serious one tonight, fam. Y'all remember Uma York mentioned? Y'all remember Uma York? Can you go to the bottom of the fridge and get me the kombucha? Gracias. So y'all remember Uma York said that everybody in the conscious community was against her? And don't think that this was big bro Cav Gills. Everybody used press one. We've been doing it for years. Anybody remember that? When Sister Uma York said that everybody in the conscious community was against her? Anybody remember that? Press one. Anybody remember that? Press one. Thank you, bud. Thank you, bud. Stop trying to. Hey, Taji. You gotta be careful with these. This the real deal here, folks. This ain't the Five Below demonstration. Hold on one second. My son needs some headphones, so I won't mess with him. You know what I mean? These not the Five Below.
We'll be back to your regularly scheduled program.
Hold up. You got to reach down there and pull them. Don't you pull them hard. Shoot. The man. You got to make sure. Easy.
Back to your regular scheduled program.
It's like I got to put the children to work. You got to put the children to work. I mean, R. Kelly is a more now. R. Kelly Bay. He followed Taj Tariq Bay. Yeah, I mean, he got my $100 headphones. Ain't no Five Below headphones. Don't mess up them. It's gonna be a problem. You feel me? But listen, grand evening, grand rising, Moors, grand rising. Let me stop. Sister Uma York got things to do tomorrow morning. I'm up here playing all late in the evening. That's right. Don't mess them headphones up. It's gonna be a problem out here. I mean, we get yours from Five Below. We get mine from Best Buy. I just fantastic. We get the best of everything. We do. How much your headphones cost? You don't even remember, do you?
$25.
They cost $25. About. Man, they was like $30. They the gaming headphones.
I mean, that's like $5 more. So if you round it up, then that would be 30. So.
All right. But you can't find them though.
You put them somewhere.
Oh, all right. My bad. Let me get back to the show.
Exposed.
Somebody say he's drunk. Now, I don't drink. I don't know who drunk. Wait, who drunk? The spammers? The spammers are drunk. They say I'm drunk or something because I'm laughing. Anyway.
As his son, I can say that he does not drink nor smoke. So
I don't do what?
He does not drink nor smoke, nor does any drugs. So he's fine. He's completely
I smoke them all right.
Oh my God.
I smoke them all right. No, I'm playing.
He'll smoke the rabbits.
I smoke the silly bunny rabbits. Now let's get started, family. My apology. Let's get started. What I want to do is I want to share a few things with y'all. I want to share a few things with y'all real quick. Y'all remember when, my apologies, Sister Uma York, I had to deal with the bunny rabbits. They're gone now. They're gone back in their holes. God dang it. The bunny rabbits are gone back in their holes. Anyway, remember when Sister Uma York said that everybody in the conscious community, did anybody press one? Everybody press one. Everybody in the conscious community was against her family. This is crazy. I want y'all to listen and listen good before I bring the sister on. I want y'all to listen and listen good. Watch this. Listen to this. This is your brother again.
Which is my point. Because so much people showed up. They literally, when I was supposed to go to court, and all these people can tell you, over 100 people can tell you this shit is true, that showed up. They literally uncuffed me and told me walk out and postpone my court date to Halloween.
Y'all hear that? Remember, Uma York said that everybody overlooked her and was rocking with Polite. Listen again.
Some shit the niggas ain't never seen. They went to my wife Aminette, Misute Aminette Sintatumre. They went to her and said to her, please, can you tell everyone, to, they can leave? Oh, and they came to me like, I can tell your wife is, your baby is. We just spoke to them. My wife told me that they said, can you just tell everybody he's definitely coming out? The judge is going to be a prick today. There ain't no way we're going to let him see the judge under these conditions, this, that, and that. When everyone came into the courtroom, and everyone was out the building, courtroom, inside out, being out of control shit, the judge, they said, my people and my family and them all said, the judge just thought that it was recess or some shit. Because when they heard that it was time, that there was no case taking place with me that day, and I was being released, everybody left. And it was like, damn, all these people, woo. Because prior to that, I was just a nigga accused of murder. Prior to that, I was...
You see that? And he wasn't accused of murder. He was accused of attempt murder, but he was embellishing. And that was 10 years ago. And now more than 10 years ago, approximately, give or take. And now we have Sister Uma York. She comes here and she puts her situation before the people. And we have people that would say, well, no, that didn't happen. But we have it from the mouth of Brother Polite that everybody was at the courthouse for him. But nobody, according to Uma York, and which has to be credible because we're hearing it from both sides, that ain't nobody check or ride with her after being almost killed by Brother Polite and her brother being wounded, allegedly, let me say allegedly, by Brother Polite or the goons that was with him. And here we go with Uma York. How you doing, Sister Uma York?
Hello, how you doing?
Were you able to hear that clip that I just played?
Yeah, I heard the clip, That's exactly what I went through. A whole bunch of people just there at the courtroom protesting for him,
And that's insane because it would appear that people that was listening to you the last time that the recording leak, that I was looking on the other channels that they was trying to smooth over like, nah, well, nah, or just look at it as if it was a story. But now the story begins to go full circle, and everything that you say, I'm confirming it through research. I got a couple more videos that I came up on, and shout out to the people that send me these videos. Shout out to the people that post these videos, like Pab Masoop. I'm gonna give the link to that channel right there that posts the video that I had the pleasure to listen to, and I was able to confirm another thing that you said, that how they took the house. You feel me? And we will play that in a minute. But sis, one thing that's on the flyer for today is the culture of child molestation, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The culture of child molestation. Somebody said she needs to identify herself. She already have. She's been on the show before. You know what I mean? Low Country, we don't know who you are either. Who are you? Hit the link, Low Country, and identify yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody hit the link. Let Low Country hit the link since she got to identify herself. Why don't you identify yourself and tell me why she got to identify herself? I mean, we already seen her. We know what she look like. There you go, Low Country. The link is right under you. But Sister Uma York.
Yeah.
When you were I'm gonna call it the community, did you consider yourself a Nuwaubian, or what were you referring to yourself as, or were you just your father's child?
I was just my father's child, because to be honest with you, before I was there, like I said, I was, in the streets, I was in foster care, so I wasn't a part of their organization or anything like that before I got to that house.
Okay. Can you give us a little bit of before? But I'm talking about when you were on the land, when you were younger, like in your teenage years. Were you on the land then?
Yeah, I was on the land before. But even still, when I was on the land, I just felt like them people were weird. I always felt like there was something just not right with them.
So,
With people.
so your father created the new Nubian, but you thought that they was weird. Come on,
Yeah, I mean, I was
I
young,
feel
so
you,
I
sis.
didn't
I
understand
got
a
you,
lot of
sis.
the stuff. You
Right.
know, I didn't really understand a lot of what's going on. I seen a lot of women walk around bald headed. I was just like, this looked kind of strange. Then eventually, they convinced me that I had to cut my hair. It was it is what it was.
But you know what's funny? You know what's funny? I look at some of the comments, right, sis? I look at some of the comments, and majority of people support you, right? But then you got those comments of like, oh nah, oh nah, because she's Dr. York's daughter, and she was with it, and she know this and they know that, but they don't even know you. They don't even know you. And I
Yeah.
will tell you this, the audience, those who listening, um, sis have said many a times, I'm not going to talk about my father's situation where people made allegation that there was molestation, because it's people that could have possibly experienced these things, and she didn't want to scratch the wound of it without sufficient information or knowledge of the totality of the whole situation. And I think that's an honorable thing. But I was looking in the comment section, people like, she knew this, she knew that. Most children don't know all of the intricate workings that goes inside these societies, but they get if you will, they feel the remnants of it, the effects of it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
You feel
when you were on the land,
mm-hmm.
did you sense that there was a child, and I call it a child molestation culture on the land? What I
No,
mean
I
by
didn't.
child molestation culture is like, I did a video last night where in Lebanon it's okay to marry a 12-year-old. Like, was it a culture? Was it secret? Was it normalized? How could you explain it from the eyes of, I guess, when you were a teenager?
Well, I was in the girls' house for a little bit, but they quickly moved me out of the girls' house, and I moved, and they ended up having to put me in a house that was like considered 100, which was my father's house, and it was separated with certain children. So, I guess me being in the girls' house, I would see those girls running around doing a lot of promiscuous things, and I thought that was strange. They were doing it amongst themselves, may I add. Um, and then on top of that, I had this one little sister that used to always sleep in a bed with me. And I always, when I got older, I started to think that something might have happened to her because she'd always peed in the bed, but it took for me to become older to start to realize that certain things just wasn't right. Now, in regards to, other things happening. Yeah, my brothers would say stuff like, yeah, this one's touching me, and they liked it and stuff like that, but it was like women touching on these little boys and stuff like that. And I guess I didn't look at it as a thing because I was like, well, at least he's not gay, I don't know. I didn't know how to look at things back then. You know what I'm saying? I could honestly say I didn't know. Um, yeah, there were things where I do remember, like a young girl, her mother used to always buy her cranberry juice. And I always questioned why she bought her cranberry juice. I never understood why it wasn't for everybody. It was just specifically for her. And, as I got older, I realized, cranberry juice was something, people drink when they had urinary tract infections or something like that. So I don't know, as a child that age, why she would have one, So there was a lot of weird stuff happening on that land. When it came down to other people that I've seen myself, well, let me not say seen, but, just witnessed certain weird things. It was just like weird stuff happening there. I would sit inside the playground all the time late at night, just sitting in the playground, just watching, seeing what's going on. You'll see like these different mates sneaking around, and you'll see them sneaking around, messing around, fooling around, even in the playgrounds and up the hill. The kids, when there was Savior's Week, the kids would go up the hill and do all kinds of weird stuff with strangers and stuff like that. So you know, but it's like the organization, all of them all knew each other. So I assumed it was like normal. I didn't know any better, you know what I'm saying? So I assumed this stuff was like normal to them, that, you know, they'll meet up to have like the little parties up the hill and stuff like that. And the children from the land will come up the hill with the people that are coming on the land, you know. So, you know, I assumed that was normal. I'm sure some people, a lot of people still remember that stuff. Um, yeah.
Wow. Did you ever meet anybody that was actually, did anybody, I mean, throughout the years, have you ever heard, because because this all stems from Brother Polite. If Polite wouldn't have got locked up for allegedly raping a 14-year-old, then this story would probably still been buried, and people would still be talking about Dr. York did this, Dr. York did that. But one of the stories that we never heard is the story of what you're telling, that, okay, you got the conversation about your father, Dr. York. Okay, we get it.
Mm-hmm.
But that this is kind of like a culture of sexual deviant for adults, and it's passing down to the children.
That's a fact.
Were that talks of people like trying to cover up for other people? I mean, was anybody ever disciplined? Will ever say, you know, we shouldn't be doing this? Anything like that?
Nobody was ever disciplined. This is her husband chiming in. Nobody was ever disciplined in that community. You had situations where they would do just the opposite. It would be a complete cover up. There was no sense of accountability. That's why I left over 10 years ago.
Wow. So even the adult, even if a child would complain that somebody touched them the wrong way,
yeah, there would be an orchestrated attempt to cover it up.
That's a fact.
Take my daughter, for instance.
By the way, one moment, because everybody say, who is this? By the way, this is Uma York husband. He'll be on the show at a later date to go into the details of his experience, but I think he was just about to touch on it just a little bit right now. So, brother, the floor is yours.
Yeah, what I was about to say was, they, and this is something that's not just for this community, but I think in the Black community in general, we have this habit of covering up things that that I don't necessarily think we need to necessarily go to the dominant society, quote unquote, but we do need to address it, and there is no accountability. So yes, there was a culture of cover up in that organization.
I was going straight to
that's just what it was. For example, Damian Pryor, who was Basil Muhammad, or known as Duswa York. There was a complete cover up of my situation with my daughter with him. In fact, her mother, along with Dr. York's sister, what was her name, Dale Brown or Waki, they covered up this whole situation.
Wow. And I mean, and who exactly are they? I mean, are they still around today?
I don't know. I left that community. So,
not in the community. I'm just talking about, are they relevant? Because nowadays we got social media. You know what I'm saying?
They're not relevant on social media to my knowledge. Not that I'm on social media. I work all the time.
You talking about my aunt?
Yes, I'm talking about your aunt.
Waki is right now the head face of that organization. She's like the one that does the Eastern Star stuff and all of that stuff.
Well, I don't.
She be all over the place. I'm just telling you what I've seen, because these people be stalking me on Facebook, and I be seeing. So I be clicking on some of these people pictures, and I be like, oh God, these weirdos, So I know what I be seeing, and yeah, she be right there with all them people. In regards to your baby mother, I don't know about her. I don't see her anywhere. You talking about your daughter's mother? Yeah, okay. I don't see her anywhere. But that dude Damian Pryor, or should I say Basil Muhammad or Dushwa York, because these people change it. I call him douchebag, but you know, they change their names over and over again. That man is known to be a child molester and pedophile, and people have swept it under the rug consistently, not just with your daughter's case, but also with other people's case as well.
All right, let me
Like somebody text me something.
let's go into a little bit of detail with it. I may as well get it out the way. Um, so basically, you know, my daughter and another child exposed him, and it was, you know, it became this thing. It blew up in the community. But you know, instead of making him accountable, it was this rush to cover it all up. I was personally asked, you know, uh, to you know, leave it alone and cover it up, and I refused. You know, I went to the authorities. And when, you know, obviously as a father, when you hear something about something happened to your daughter, for you know, your first instinct is to do something that any father would do, which is go looking for him. You know, and when he was hidden, and come to find out, you know, years later that he was actually hiding out with Doc's sister, who was Waki, for 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, she calls herself Wakia now. I don't know what.
Yeah, whatever she's called. Yeah, he. And then the message was relayed, because at the time I was 10 toes down in the organization. I was very loyal to its founder, and he asked me to put it to rest until his situation was you know, he was awarded his freedom. This was years and years and years ago.
Right.
Needless to say, it got to a point with me that it just made me look at the whole organization in general. It made me notice the fact that, you know, there is no accountability and there's always a double standard. Um, you know, and this is a person under the guise of supposed to be helping his case, quote unquote, at the time. Now, this person, Basil, pops up after York is indicted and goes to jail, and comes in under the the premise of he has this groundbreaking information that's going to blow the case wide open. He was there. He was witness to the conspiracy. Him and other people as well.
He was the same person taking recantments.
Right, taking recantments. You know, going to help you know, Dr. York get out of jail.
He was supposed to help me go to the court case, but they made sure I wasn't there.
Yeah. So he comes under this. But he's the same guy that was with Jacob York, doing the exact same thing, of what Dr. York was accused of. So this stuff is kind of known.
Right.
So he he you know, he does what he does with my daughter. My child's mother, for whatever reason, did not go to the authorities. I went to the authorities about it. You know, because when I couldn't find him initially, you know, and everybody was trying to tell me, you know, don't take any legal action, don't take her to the doctor, don't get her checked out, don't do this. I'm like, why would I not do that? You know, obviously I went and I filed a police report. You know, I was told that you know, initially that they would look into it. Everything seemed to be going fine, but as the months went on, I started noticing weird things, even with the police. They even admitted to me that that he can not be, quote unquote, touched right now because another agency, a higher up agency, is using him. So that told me that, yeah, maybe he's in some sort of informant. That's you know, I kind of read it in between the lines, but they refuse to touch the case. Now, if they're all about protecting kids, you know, you would think they would have arrested the man. He had other warrants, so yeah, it's a real crazy situation.
So
But
he's still basically still out and about with
yeah,
the ability to
Right
do
now.
the same exact thing.
Yep.
Yes,
And
of
probably
course.
doing it somewhere. Hmm.
Yeah, he's
Um,
he was he went to jail for manslaughter. You know, he
he
had a
was doing
yeah,
scams.
he had a scam. He was, you know,
Hmm.
scamming constantly.
People could actually Google him right now under the name
Yeah,
Damian Pryor. They could Google him under Basil Muhammad, and they'll find so many different aliases under this guy's name.
yeah, he was
Literally.
in jail for fraud and got out. So
Yeah.
yeah, obviously he's some sort of government informant.
Wow, this is crazy. And so he actually molesting people and still running around.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's what tells me that this government doesn't really give a darn
And
about our community, and they don't care about York. They were trying to stop what he was doing, whether he's guilty, not guilty, whatever. If it's all about making anybody accountable, then you know this guy obviously should have been locked up too, and so should the rest of these people. They, you know, and people, what's weird about this whole thing is, you know, the folks that did come forward and, you know, and indicted York, they got nothing out of the situation. They just out here lost and still, you know,
So
quote
so
unquote suffering.
so a lot of people that was a part of getting Dr. York locked up, wasn't some of them also in the community being affected by the same things, even outside of what some of them accused Dr. York of? And they still out here with this? Are they still in the community? Some of them? I mean, when you left, by the time you left.
you mean the people that accused him?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them, some of the people that accused him,
This is
including the young girls, they're with my brother. One of them probably laid up with my brother right now. You get
what?
what I'm saying? These people, yes. So, and I've asked this question over and over again. If you've been molested by my father, why would you be sleeping with my brother? That don't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't that trigger some kind of trauma or something like that? You know, I don't know. I've just always questioned certain things, but then I started to realize that my family was the one covering up a lot of this stuff themselves, you know. Um Somebody sent this, you know, somebody sent this message to me, and I did just to show you how far back, you know, people know. This was a text message that was sent, actually it wasn't even sent to me. It was sent to a brother named Cowie, who sent it to me. um and you know, peace to brother Cowie. As a matter of fact, he was somebody that actually came to check up on me after the whole shooting situation and stayed there with me to make sure that nothing happened to me again. Somebody sent this to him January 31st 2011, and it was sent from some brother named Alvarez. And it said, tell the lady whose daughter was molested by the Nuwabians was Edith Shaw. They said Deborah knows all about it. Also, it was Nifu, oh, oops, my bad, Nifu's daughter, who was molested by Basil, who we speaking about right now. This Damian Pryor dude. That's, they also call him Basil. They said, ask Deborah, she knows all about it. I don't know who this Deborah lady is, but you know, this was the message that I've gotten years ago. You know, I just decided to look through all of my old messages and stuff like that. You know, I was looking at, you know, I was doing a lot of research on this whole case, you know, not just the fraud stuff. I was researching all kinds of stuff, you know, like what is going on. I wanted to dissect this whole thing because, you know, I didn't know of, you know, I didn't know of my father to be this monster that they were painting him out to be. So I wanted to do my own research, you know. So, you know, when I started getting these little research, little things, you know, I was like, wow, this is a little deeper than what people are speaking about, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, this is the, you know, and not only that, you know, this guy's been beating on women, you know, for years, and no one's, these women are scared to talk about it. They're scared to talk about it. You know, this guy's the same guy that bred Nature Boy. Now Nature Boy's out here beating up on women, you know, so it's the same.
So even Nature Boy is connected uh, um, to this type of community.
Yeah, Nature Boy, when Nature Boy spoke about how he knew Basil personally, and he was amused by his barbershop that he had that had this whole Egyptian theme and stuff like that. And this was a person, this it was in a it was a live conversation on Bigo between me and Nature Boy and a couple of other people on the panel. So a lot of other people heard the conversation.
And you tell me that ain't crazy.
Mhm. And I put the connection together. I was like, wait a minute, because somebody said a story and they were like, yeah, he went around the girl, he circled that Nature Boy had the brothers circle the girl while he beat the girl to death. I mean, not beat the girl to death, but he beat the girl up. And then I was like, wow, I heard that same story about 10, 15 years ago with the same brother, Basil, that he was in a barbershop and he had the brothers, the Nubian brothers, round up around to stop this girl from running. They kept her in the circle while this guy beat her up. So these people, they all are very aware of what they're doing. They just been covering stuff up left and right and that's their whole purpose, is to keep covering it up while these people continue to do mischief throughout the community. And people look at the conscious community, like what is going, why is it the way it is? And it's like, you got main people that are being idolized and worshiped that are monsters. You get what I'm saying? And that doesn't take away from anybody else. I'm just saying, everybody that have their involvement in knowing this, if you know about a child being abused or anything like that, you're a monster. If you're not saying anything about it, you're a monster.
Sis, why is it to me, and I don't know how to say this, why is it to me that you are coming off as so normal after all that you've been through, but so many people are acting as if something is wrong with you?
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
say
they do
that
to people.
because I've got, that girl, she needs counseling. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm.
That girl, they need to deal with that with the family. She shouldn't be talking on your show. That girl,
And
she
I've been hearing that my whole life. My own family tried to shut me up. After I did the interview with you, I had calls from family telling me, don't say nothing. Don't say my name. Don't say this. Don't say that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just say this, because I have no attachments to these people at this point. When you start to realize that these people are monsters, why am I going to hold on to it? When they have family reunions, when I did come around, I didn't even bring my kids around. So why would I trust it? Why do I try? That shows you I didn't even trust these people even then. So what, all of a sudden I'm supposed to just keep burying this stuff up for what? These people are weird, including my siblings. You know what I'm saying? That want to, or shall I say, relatives that want to hide this stuff. They're just as weird.
right. Yeah.
And it could be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just was going to say that I got a couple emails of people saying these things, and I'm saying to myself, like, I don't understand for the life of me, how somebody would want to silence you if they also been through this same type of trauma, or they have witnessed this type of trauma. Because according to a lot of people, this ain't no secret.
It's not. It's not. And what triggered it to me, I've been normally living my life, la la la. I do what I do. I'm a designer. I just, I do fashion shows. This is what I do. I do things that keep me sane, that keep me, not thinking about this, my past traumas and stuff like that. I don't stay around these Nubians. I don't come to their events. And if I do, it's like my brother asked me to come or somebody asked me to come, and it was like, oh God. Other than that, yeah, I don't really deal with these people. So that's probably what kept me more sane than anything, trying to adapt to the society, heck, having white friends, just basic stuff like that, just trying to adapt. And that pretty much what has helped me to try to stay sane. What triggered it also recently, minus Polite getting locked up, was the fact that one of my brothers came to me and told me that he was molested at 7 years old, and I was adding his age up. I was like, wait, ain't you 20 years old right now? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, Pops, I don't know. This isn't adding up. So you're going to tell me that You've been molested literally about 14, 15 years ago. And when I spoke to other people about it, when I asked other people, like, hey, do you know anything about this? People were like, oh yeah, man, that's old. I'm like, how can you just say something like that? Like, are you serious? Like, so you telling me people know about this? And they're like, yeah, a lot of people know about this. Y'all just swept it under the rug. Are you serious? That's disturbing to me. I have a 7-year-old daughter. That's disturbing to me. If somebody was there, try to touch my daughter, I freak out if her school even say, hey, we had to change her hoodie. I'd be like, why? You know what I mean? That, like, I'm that overly protective parent just because of my personal experiences. You know what I'm saying? So I that's why I'm the way I am, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that every parent should be that way. Every parent should want to be overprotective of their child, should protect their children's innocence. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there's anything wrong with me. And then, another thing I realized is that for years in my life, I used to smoke and I used to drink. You know what I'm saying? And that was another thing that I used to call myself saying, my way to suppress myself. But I stopped. And it's funny because I stopped drinking and I stopped smoking. And that's what made me more. I had to realize all the pain I was hiding inside of me. I had to realize, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm hiding all of this inside of me. Like, yeah. And I replaced it with working out. And honestly, it's been keeping me up and it's been keeping me, more strong headed. And now I feel like, yeah, I need to release this stuff out from inside of me. You know what I'm saying? This stuff needs to be told. I don't want to live my life and know that this man is a pedophile and he's traveling across the country, you know what I'm saying? And didn't say nothing. You know what I mean? Like, are you serious? I don't know how people could live like that. Yeah, it's just how I feel. Oh, I can't hear you.
I said this making it real easy for me because I'm just listening to the story and I'm just painting a picture in my mind of all of these children that has been affected and all the ones that may be still being affected because this community is still around. I know some good new Wabian brothers that I respect highly, where they just relocated to Liberia a few years ago. And I don't see them like that. And I know a few that reached out.
That wasn't the whole community, bro.
No, that wasn't the whole community, but I said a few. I said a few.
Like every community has some.
Yeah. That's why I say I know a few, and this brother, that group seemed pretty solid. But is that my question would be? Is that a small minority?
What, of the community?
Of the community. No, is that a small? Like I met these brothers. I met them in Atlanta. They were telling me I met them maybe 4 years ago at the Malcolm X festival, and they was talking about they had a stand there, and they was talking about they had a bookstore. They was talking about they was planning to move into Liberia, and and I kept in touch with them. Even in Liberia, I kept in touch with them for quite some time. And they just seemed pretty solid, just seemed to try to develop themselves, trying to develop the positive side of community, nationhood, and all of that. And so I'm like,
I mean, there was a lot of positive things going on in that community. It wasn't all negative,
Yeah. So no, what I'm saying is that a minority? Or was there? Because it can be a lot of positivity, but when the lights go out, everything can go crazy.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't directly exposed to a lot of that. Obviously, I did something or said something or I think the average brother wouldn't tolerate that, but obviously there's a subgroup in there that's what they do.
Were you able to catch
subgroup? You mean the headquarters? You mean the main people? Those are the people that's hiding the stuff. The people sitting there in Bushwick. Some of them have sat inside of girls' houses and girls have been molested and they know this. You know what I'm saying? You talking about stuff that, no, there's people that watch this stuff. I remember there was this one lady that used to beat her daughter, and I never understood why she would beat her daughter. Like, you don't even watch your daughter. Why are you even beating her? You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of weird stuff happening. And you know what? It's not the whole organization that's bad, but there's definitely a lot of people in the administration that was the main people. You know what I'm saying? So it made the other people that were newcomers and all of that, like me personally, anybody that would come on, I would be like, oh boy, another weirdo. Because, I seen it from a perspective of all of the people in the main people, the headquarters, those people, I seen them as being corrupt. So I seen it as anybody that wanted to join something as being corrupt is somebody that's just going to end up corrupt. And just the same situation as when Polite attempted to murder me, and those people were out there protesting and riling up for this man. It's the same cult like mentality. You know what I'm saying? You can't get ahead that way when people just don't want to seek right knowledge, or don't want to get the facts of everything. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get anywhere.
That part is very true. It you know on the one hand they teach and preach, facts, 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 but once somebody's name is mud, they're ostracized, and it is a thing where they turn a deaf ear, and there is no accountability. That I see that flat out. There's no such thing as accountability in that community at
He
all.
says, somebody asked in the chat, how old were you when your father was they didn't ask this, I'm asking this. How old was you when your father was actually incarcerated?
19.
You were 19-year-old. Was your father aware of any of the allegations that that the community has been so-called plagued with this molestation stuff?
Do he know about the other people?
At that age, was your father aware of all of the things that we now come to know to a degree?
At the age of 19, my father was telling me stuff like, go check your grandma, see how your grandma is doing. We didn't talk about, me and my father didn't have discussions about the organization.
Gotcha.
I was more, I was always like, I felt weird about that organization, period, because, I had a brother that was supposed to take over the organization and he was assassinated, so I always wanted to be, I was always that child that was just like, yeah, I'm good. It just didn't sit well with me. That's just and it's not the organization, it's the people.
That's what I was about to get into. Do you feel as though that your father created the organization and then it took on a life of its own?
Yep, definitely. Definitely. Those people were doing stuff on their own. They definitely were doing stuff on their own. My father would say stuff like about somebody, like he'll probably just mention something, and then the brothers will go out there and just find that person and beat up on that person and these people were doing their own thing. And they were doing it thinking that they were trying to please him, and he was just not impressed. You know what I'm saying? He was, like I said, he was trying to get the hell away from those people, you know. And that was the last thing I remember when he was on the land. He would talk about how when I was on the land and he was on the land, this when he was not incarcerated, he would talk about how he was trying to get away from these people. That's why he bought the house in Athens, so that he could have a peace of mind. You get what I'm saying? And the land was literally in the organization's name. That land was in the organization's name. It wasn't in his name. It was in other people's name, who I found really interesting, were the same people that turned around and were trying to prosecute him for other things. And mind you, that, like, when I did the research on that land, for Shady Dell Road, when I did the research on that property, a lot of people say, oh, the feds took it. But anybody who got any common sense know they took it for investigation. And then after they take it for investigation, they give it right back. So what happened was everybody ended up right back. Everybody was still on that land and everything. People in that organization sold that property. They sold that property. That's a fact. I've even had a confession from a brother, what I'm saying, one of the brothers that was a part of it. He confessed to me and said that people were committing fraud. You know, he mentioned it to me, you know, in a whole Facebook text, this man said it. So, you know, and I just can't believe these people, you know, like I just can't believe that they would do something like this. That just shows you how selfish they were. They weren't thinking for the good of our people. They were thinking for the good of themselves, all of them. You know what I'm saying? Each and every one of them that had their hands in it. And
And let's talk about for a second before we get back into we go that you mentioned Sakina many times. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Now Sakina, what in relation to your father, who was Sakina?
She was technically the woman that was running the Mount Vernon store, and she was the person that used to transport some of his kids when they were upstate in certain locations. She would drive from New York to Georgia and back and forth every 2 weeks, you know. Oh, I don't, there's like salt and pepper on the screen. I don't know what that is.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Hold on.
No, I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't even be paying attention to it. It just look weird.
My bad. My bad. Salt, pepper, gold teeth. My bad.
I was like, what in the world is that?
My bad. I was messing with the controls and stuff. My bad. But so I got this video. I got this video that I discovered, and man, shout out to those who are concerned. You know what I'm saying? But let me play it real quick because it mentions Sakina.
The scam artist.
But the and I wanted to mention too, for all the people that tries to come at Dr. York, because I'm not a Dr. York fan nor a Dr. York supporter, nor am I against Dr. York, because I don't know the story to give a position. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know. All I know is that he have 100 different variations of a certain truth. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have a position because I don't know. All I hear what people say. But every single time I hear him speak, considering what he's up against, he seems of sound mind and he's right and exact in a lot of what he says. And when this was like cryptic, this was like 2014. And he's mentioning you. And the moment that I heard it, I sent it straight to you. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
a
I'm gonna
fact.
play it real quick. Listen to this.
I was just talking about on the information of where we are at this point.
Okay.
They exposed a lot of things. What she did is she moved one of my daughters, Kathum, which is Radia's daughter.
Yes, I know.
Uma, that's you, Uma?
Nope, that's another sister. There's
sister?
2 of us. Mm-hmm.
She moved one of my daughters, Kathum, which is Radia's daughter.
Yes, I know her. Mm-hmm.
While she moved the other ones out, but she only moved these people in because all of them are gay. That was a gay connection.
Right.
They were what? What did he say?
He said they were gay. That was their
gay
connections. Mm-hmm.
So Sakina also had a gay constituent in the community also.
Yeah, she actually had a girlfriend.
I mean, but what I'm saying is, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want anybody that's watching that live that lifestyle think that I have something against it.
Yeah, we have nothing against homosexuals, but
just do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do, and that's what it is. But
I'm trying to remember her name.
odd. It sounds kind of odd considering the foundation of the community. And so go on, since you say she had a gay sister.
Yeah. Her name, I believe her name was Jelani, the girlfriend that she had. You know, Sakina had a car accident and the girl died in a car accident. As a matter of fact, 8 people died, and Sakina was the only one that lived out of that car accident. Yeah, her girlfriend was one of the people that was in that car accident. Yeah, but she was one of the people that was running the Mount Vernon store. And from Mount Vernon, she just, you know, got close to my grandmother when it was trying to be my grandmother's caretaker, and kind of weaseled her way into 7-Eleven and basically bogarted 717. You know what I'm saying? That's basically how that situation happened. You know, and that's why I realized my father used to always tell me, go check up on your grandmother. And I told my family that I feel like that lady's trying to kill our grandmother, you know? And then I did some research on that, and the lady had life insurance on my grandmother.
What?
Yes. The lady under Patricia Lewis, she had Met life insurance under my grandmother. Yes.
Let me stop for a minute and say, everybody, thumbs up. Y'all got to know that this is something that has not hit the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like this. You know what I'm saying? Even to hear it out of Dr. York's mouth, although it was in the public, don't nobody highlight this type side. Everybody want to highlight the things that Malachi Z. York was accused of, but nobody highlight the side where you can hear him, and this stuff is out there. Nobody highlight the side where he's saying, I know what's going on. This is what's going on. And
yeah, in that video, he speak about.
It blows me away. It blows me away, sis, that everybody really study one side of the story, which again, I don't support, nor do I condemn, because I don't know enough about the story. However, I've heard one side of the story, and as I look at the other side of the story, I'm like, this is a fascinating story as it relates to, you can hear your father talk about he's aware of what's going on. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he spoke about and when I listened to that video that you sent me, he spoke about, my sister Leah doing the research. No, my sister Leah wasn't doing the research. She was one of the people just had her money all over trying to get some money out of it as well. I was the one doing all the research on everything, which is why I pretty much know all of the stuff that I could pretty much break down and including, I've held on to documents for it. I've given my family documents of the stuff that I've done research on, and they still ignored it, even with the facts right in front of their face. That's how I knew something was weird and something was going on. Something was just strange with that family.
Since this is a little bit off, I'm gonna finish playing this in a second, but I gotta ask you, after all the research that you did, and even your husband, he can chime in too. What do you think ultimately the reason for, if he was your father, targeted? Ultimately, and I'm not just talking about, oh, he's a black man that unified people. What did you, in your research, did you see anything that would say, there it is?
In my research, what I said was, wow, what a coincidence that, this person was the notary on this fraud. This person was the quote unquote power of attorney on this fraud. And it's just like a puzzle piece with all of the people that, supposedly, had all of these charges, that their parents were committing a lot of fraud. My father owned over 30 buildings, so these people were literally stealing stuff. They were stealing. People were literally just stealing. It was all a money thing, a money game to them. All they wanted was some money. That's it. And like Sakina said to me, I spent 12 years of my life and I'm not walking away with nothing. She said that to me. That was after the shooting happened with Polite, when I addressed her about it.
Man. How about you? Your husband still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah. What do you think? The ultimate, if he was targeted, like by the authorities.
Well, all right. Regardless of guilt, innocence, or anything.
We're not going to get into that on my show.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the intellectual response. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to clearly understand.
Clearly, if he was just my situation shows that they're not interested in the black children per se. They can give a damn about our children. They were trying to stop his movement because his movement represented a level of power, if you will. You have a organization of Nubians, black people, Moors, that were moving independently of the government. And when you begin to exercise that kind of power, where you have land, you're trying to eat off your own land, you are eating off your own land, you have your own language, you have your own culture that's not vetted and authorized through them, when you think for yourself and are in the position where you can actually implement things for yourself, that's a problem, because they have a global plan for us as a people, which is to have everybody basically colonize the colonization of the mind, body, and soul if they could. So
I agree.
that was an operative working example of what we can do if we just put our minds to it. That's what that represented. That's what was stamped out when you stamped out that land and
I totally agree.
compromised that movement, because it was growing so fast and getting to the point that we wouldn't need them. We'd have been a nation in a nation, literally.
I agree with that.
So
Yeah.
they can't have that. So you know his personal life was just a means to bring about the end of a movement.
Yeah, but when they realized that he was gonna back out of it, when they realized he was gonna back out of it and placed his son in charge, that son got assassinated.
And what son was that?
That was his name was Yadullahi.
Okay. Somebody in the chat said that a son John or something. Let me see. Flipped on Dr. York.
I don't know a son named John.
Was it somebody said John? Somebody type it back in there. I kind of missed it. I don't know if it said John or something else. But it says one son that testified against them or something like that. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware. I wasn't around.
Jacob York. It said Jacob York. Jacob York.
Oh yeah.
It's right
Yeah,
here.
I mean, yeah, what's so funny? Yeah, he's the same person that left me in foster care, as a matter of fact. The same brother that left me in foster care, Jacob York, is that what people talking about? Because I remember when it was what is the name of it was a place that we were at. This was before my father was incarcerated. The name of the place was called the Buttercup Lounge on Adelphi Street. I remember it, in Brooklyn, New York. There was a meeting that Jacob called, a meeting for brothers and sisters to come through, and his whole purpose was to take him down. The people that was there, because I got invited there, because I just got off the land, so they wanted me to talk about it, but I refused. They wanted me to do stuff with them, and I refused. I was just like, no, I want nothing to do with this shit. You know what I'm saying? My sisters, there was a couple of siblings there, and trust and believe you me, I really want to say their names so damn bad. Let's just say you definitely said one of their names, or better yet, my father gonna say one of their names. She was there. My sister, my older sister, that's the twin to the one that was assassinated, was there, and there was a couple of other people there, and there was some people that was like, that came, heard it, and was like, I want no ends on this, and walked away and walked out, literally. And then there was the rest of them that, they went along with it. And they did anything by any means necessary, as long as they got some money in their pockets.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Let me play this real quick. Let me finish playing this real quick. 1 second.
And she moved Katuma because Leah was coming down on her. So she moves into 7-Eleven and pretends the building is in bad condition. When they pull the records up, they find out there's no tax owed on it. It's not in bad condition, and that's where she stays. But she was letting the people, when Fatima Sanoshi and them was in 717, she was letting them suffer while she was living.
I know. I didn't like that at all.
And renting to the people upstairs, and then renting to not renting to and making money all this. She was just, it's coming out though, so it's just being exposed. I just want you to know that to the point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny how now it's being exposed, but yeah, I'm Khair. I was the daughter that was there first before everybody.
Right. And when your situation happened, what year was that?
Sheesh, I was about 24 years old when the shooting happened.
Yeah, what year was that? 20.
Hold on, let me research my paperwork, because now you got me opening paperwork. Just so I have the exact dates on you.
Something. This is a hey fam. I would like to everybody to thumbs up and share this at least one time. Yeah, we got 224 thumbs up. That's pretty good. Family, I appreciate y'all. Woo!
My court date, my court paperwork this was 2007. This is
Jacob,
8/14, 2007. I
if you
was when they
let me say
started
this,
coming after me.
if you're Jacob York and you say y'all just talking BS, Jacob York, if you're going to be respectful, you can come and say what you want to say. But if you're going to be respectful, I will put the link in. But if you don't,
No.
I'm gonna block you.
Me and him has always had problems ever since then.
But yeah, but I don't like people coming to the chat and they just make, because it could be a fake account. So I don't like people coming to the chat and make fake posts or taunting posts or trying to disqualify somebody when we supposed to be adults. We're supposed to be civilized. We're supposed to be conscious people. And so if you are all that, then talk like a civilized person and put what you have on the table. I have not been able to disqualify anything that Sister Uma York has said. In fact, the things that she told me and that she told us here, she didn't give me a lot of the proof. In researching this story, people were sending me stuff independently, and I was finding stuff independently. So this stuff was confirmed without Uma York. So she gets a whole bunch of check marks over here. You feel me?
And thank you. I appreciate some of them videos too. Thank you.
And I'm sending you videos like check this out. You wouldn't send me stuff. Look, my story is true. Here, brother Tahaka, my story is true. I'm finding this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm finding this stuff. And so Jacob York says, what did he say? He says something to the effect that I'm allowing people to tell a lie, and I don't know what people are telling, brother. I'm saying that everything that I found on this story that was told by Uma York was confirmed by outside sources.
So the Buttercup Lounge was a lie? That wasn't no lie. He know that wasn't no lie.
What happened at the Buttercup Lounge?
That's when they were all riled up and talk and they were all talking about how they wanted to take Pops down.
And what was the reason of wanting to take Pops down? Because of money again?
I was so young, honestly, I didn't even understand. I was the youngest one there.
I got you. I
didn't understand. I was just looking. I was just happy. Honestly, I was so displaced that I was just happy it was family. Right. I'm like, ooh, family. And then my brother told me that day that if I didn't do what he wanted me to do, that he disowned me as a brother. And I said, fine, and walked away. And me and him, the entire family, everybody will tell you, me and him has not had any real relationship ever since then, because it never sat well with me anyway. I must have only went to a birthday party that one of my brothers asked me to come to for him, and I showed up, you know what I'm saying? And we took one picture together. That's about it. Then after that, another one of my brothers asked me to come to a club, and he literally left me outside of the damn club and let everybody else in.
Right.
And if I didn't know the bouncer wouldn't have let me in. But I knew the bouncer because I was already doing fashion shows in Atlanta. So people in Atlanta already knew me.
Ain't that something?
As a matter of fact, he destroyed my fashion show. When I was doing fashion shows in Atlanta, he was the main one that made sure that I wasn't doing fashion shows. It took other people to help me. People like Mike Upscale, he stepped up and was like, I don't know why your brother acting weird, but here, let me give you a location to do your fashion shows because your stuff is so dope. And I like how you represent culture and stuff like that. My brother was totally against everything I did. And as a matter of fact, he also told me that he was going to light me up, as a matter of fact, if I was going to keep saying something. I remember that. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you came up because that just triggered my memory. I remember the fact that you said you would actually take me out or have someone take me out over this.
Wow. And that's what Jacob said?
Yeah, Jacob.
And the link is out there. Jacob ain't hit the link yet.
That family is crappy, man. They could kick rocks, man. Man, what kind of that's not family, man.
Have you ever had
That ain't no family, man.
that's what I was about to say. Have you ever had what someone would call, even in normal ain't normal, but have you ever had a balanced family setting with
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I had a lady that used to take care of me. Yes, she took care of me very well. She only had sons, so she pretty much took me in as her daughter, and she would take me to go get my hair done and my nails done, and we would talk about everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, she definitely she taught me about basic hygiene. She taught me a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? That being a child running in the streets, you wouldn't know. So yeah, I definitely had balance. And the one lady, it was this one lady when I was in foster care that I used to like so much. And, she ended up getting her child, getting us taken away from her, the kids that were her foster children taken away from her, because the other girl that was there was jealous of me and her building a relationship and how much she took a likings to me, because she was like, this child's kind of smart, so she took a likings to me. This is when I was in Staten Island, and I was going to Curtis High School. This was like years later. She was another woman that was really nice to me. As a matter of fact, I said one day I'm gonna find that lady, Lisa Whitaker. I'm gonna find her. She was a really nice lady. Yeah. One day I will still find that lady and thank her.
Dr. Jacob York didn't hit the button, so
apparently.
Apparently, and I like to do my show like that, and I hope I don't catch anybody off guard, you or your husband off guard. But I like to do my show like that. As long as people, if you come disrespectful, I'm gonna just kick you out in the first place, because I think we need some closure. You know what I'm saying? And when I say we, all of us have problems. Your problems are not my problem. My problem is not your problem. At the end of the day, it's all of our problem. And we need closure. And so if you're going to come on here and act like you got some sense and put your argument on the table without arguing, then I invite it. Let me play this real quick about our brother Polite real quick. We had 11:48 and we'll try to wrap it up at 12. Let me see if I can put this up here. And family, we got a big one coming soon with your Sister Uma York husband, to tell his story and his experience, how he was affected by a situation, as he mentioned earlier, concerning his daughter and the experience in the community. Polite like to call it the community because he don't want to call it what is it? Nuwapian community. He'll say the community. And so, hey, let's call it the community. In the community, all of these things that was experienced are soon to be coming out and soon to be addressed. And then we're going to have what they call court in the streets, if you will.
Well, I think he addressed his situation in regards to Basil, that Dushwa York guy. I think he addressed that situation in regards to his daughter. His daughter was between the age of 7 and 9 years old. If that's if people are curious about certain things, yeah, and the mother knew about it the whole time, and she allowed it to happen. Didn't do anything about it. As a matter of fact, she had kids by him. Other people in the organization was aware that she was being abused, or everybody was aware of it. Nobody did anything about this, So this was a conversation amongst these people, and that makes them even more weird. The fact that y'all could sit down and kiki about this shit and not do nothing, that makes y'all weird.
So I'm Jacob Yoke looked like he was trying to hit the link, but like I say, it's not going to get out of hand. Not on my watch. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not on my watch. It's definitely not going to get out of hand. So let me get this. I want to try to get this last one in real quick. Well, let me see if I can. Oh, 1 second. One of these clips I wanted to share with you. Make sure. Okay. Okay. And let's get this out the way real quick.
Hello.
Are you there? Are you there? So, Sister Uma, let's take a second and let's Jacob York introduce himself. How you doing, Jacob York?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So, brother, you accuse me of letting people tell lies. How am I supposed to know whether it's a lie or truth? I just know that I confirm many of the things that Sister Uma say by other sources that I've also played the video. How you hit me with that, brother? Come on, bro.
Because you can play a video doesn't mean that the person in the video is telling the truth.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, listen, Sister Uma said something on one occasion.
Yes.
I'm investigating or looking into or researching something else, and I stumble across something that confirms what she said.
Like
so,
I'm listening to someone.
Let me finish. And then
but I'm listening to somebody mentioning something.
1 second, brother. We ain't gonna do this. Let me finish, and I'm gonna let you have the floor. The point that I'm making is that she said something on one occasion, and now without her help, without anybody associated with her help, I find something that confirms exactly what she says. So it gives credibility to what she says until it's disqualified.
You know what? Let's
Yeah.
All right. So that sounds logical, right?
Yeah.
So let's say
now I'm giving you the floor. Go ahead.
So that sounds logical, right? And there's a logic to saying, okay, someone gives credibility to someone. What if the first person told the lie and people have been repeating the lie? And what if you're the type of person as I am that you just say, let me just ignore the lie for 20 years and you allow family, York's children and all the people that speak on his behalf that has his sperm in them think that they have a close connection to you to make comments about you that's not factual. And you've allowed it and you've moved past it and you've looked past it and you're getting tired of it.
Brother, you asked me a question. Listen, she is telling the story in 2021.
Of what? Which story? Which story? I'm asking you to tell me the story she's telling.
She told the story about the house in Bushwick. I find an alternative story that's not associated with her, that didn't sent by her, that confirms exactly what she said.
I'm saying about me. Now
listen. So that's why I don't know anything about you. That's why you appear to be on edge or guilty about something because I don't know you.
Is the appearance of edge or guilt, or is it someone who's tired of hearing people go into group chats?
I got that.
As a moderator, right? As a moderator, your journalistic integrity says alleged.
Right. Okay.
For her to sit back, or whoever the gentleman with her to sit back and say, I molested children, I'm sitting back trying to figure out where did that come from?
Oh, so you're the Jacob York. Let me ask Uma York. Uma York, are you there, sis? Don't cut her off.
Yeah, hello.
So Jacob York is that the Deucer York or
no one actually said anything about him. We were speaking about
I don't remember anybody.
We were talking about Dushwa Basil Muhammad.
Stop right there, sis. Stop right there. Let me I thought so. Nobody said you raped anybody, brother. Where did you hear?
I just heard somebody say Jacob York. And I was like, what the hell do I have to do with this at all?
No one said you raped any children. Did you rape any children?
Why would you even see? That's not news. No, if you want to be, brother, if you want to be a part of the conscious community,
brother, you ain't gonna run my show, brother. It's a yes or no question. You're not gonna run my show. I'm asking you a question because you brought it up. So I'm gonna open your mic and I'm gonna ask you again. You brought it up. No one said you raped anybody. No one said that. You came in here and said, somebody said I raped children. So I'm gonna ask you.
I never said somebody. I said molested.
You molested children. So you brought it up.
Did you molest children?
No, I've never in my life. Now back to you.
Okay, same thing. I've never in my life molested a child.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
I know what's easy.
So the point is now what other false allegation about yourself that you thought you heard?
So why is my name in the comments if I didn't say anything? Why is someone mentioning some club and conspiracy and birthday parties? What is that coming from?
Were you at a club and had a conversation?
No.
There you go.
So why was my name brought up?
Brother, I wasn't in the club. Let's ask Uma York. Brother, you
never was at a club where a conversation was made.
Say it again.
Never was at a club where a conversation about pops was ever brought up.
Okay. And that's
it never happened.
Listen to me. That's how you deal with something intelligently. You don't sit up there and ask me that I don't have a horse in a race except giving like to the story. You don't ask me what club you talk, what club I was in. The heck if I know. But we can ask Uma York. Let's get to you, Uma York. Okay, brother? We're going to get through this. We're going to get some closure. It's okay. I'm Professor Bay today. Sister,
Hello?
Excuse me?
Yeah, so you don't remember the Buttercup Lounge in Brooklyn,
No.
New York? Oh, you don't remember
No.
that? You don't remember
I've
that?
never been to the Buttercup
You're
Lounge in my
lying.
entire life.
You're lying. Yeah, well, on Adelphi Street? On Adelphi Street? Years ago.
With who?
You don't remember
With
that?
you?
Yes, Yasmin
What
was.
year? Name the year.
I'm not even gonna mention
Name the
different
year.
names.
Then name the year.
I was
Name the
about 14 years old, 15 years old. I remember it.
In
clear.
which year was this?
I don't remember what year it was. I don't.
How old are you?
I'm 38 years old now.
So 24 years ago.
I was about 16. Now I think about it. Yeah.
So 22 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In the year 2000.
And you were definitely there. Yeah, Ish was there.
I was at a Buttercup Lounge in Brooklyn in the year 2000.
Yep, and on Adelphi Street. Yes.
Speaking to you.
Yeah, you were speaking to not just me, but a bunch of siblings. Leah was there.
About what?
Fatima was there.
About
there was
what?
a bunch of other people there, and we spoke about Pop's situation. You don't remember when you told me, oh, I'll buy you a Mercedes-Benz when you graduate from high school if you come with me, but you have to say this and you have to say that. But if you don't, then you might as well consider me not your brother. You don't remember saying that to me? Because I remember it clear as day.
In the year 1999?
I remember you saying that.
No,
yes.
I never said that to you in
I remember you saying.
Let me stop for 1 second.
First of all, Leah.
You don't. No, it's not Leah. I'm Khair.
I'm Khair. In 1999, I was dealing with. First of all, in 1999, I was dealing with something completely different. I didn't deal with Pops in 1999.
Hold up. Uma York, stop. Jacob York, you're calling her the wrong person. You don't even know who you're talking to.
I know I'm talking to one of the Mabrys.
This brother, you are in an argument or in a conversation and you don't even know who you're talking to. You see how bizarre this is?
Yeah, have 100 siblings and you tell me that.
Brother, you are arguing.
Have 100 siblings and you tell me you won't mix them up.
Why would you get into an argument until if you can't?
Okay, my brother, you said that you're here to get truth out, right? I'm asking her. We're getting to a point. In 1999, I didn't discuss Pops.
Hold up.
With anybody. I wasn't even speaking to most of my siblings in 1999. I was in a whole nother world.
Brother, listen to me. You're arguing a point with someone you don't know who you're talking to. So let's first establish who you're talking to.
Or maybe I'm mistaken the name.
One moment, brother.
Could it be a mistake of name? Could it have been a Floridian slip?
But this is why I'm here.
Okay.
Now, do you know Uma York as your sister?
I know Khair.
Okay, hold on. Sister Uma.
Yes.
What did you go by at that time?
Khair.
Okay. So you know her. Fair, right?
Khair.
Have you ever met her, conversated with her in person?
Yes, many a times.
Okay, many a time. There you go. So she's saying that at this club, shout out to the Grand Sheik of our Atlanta Temple, the conspiracy of Junior Mafia sales base. Salute, Sheik. And I got to speak to my brother. That's my brother. He's in the ATL doing the big work up in the ATL for our temple and for the people of Atlanta. But now back to you, big bro. But you have never had a conversation with her about your father, is what I'm asking.
No.
And that's an answer you got to settle with. But however, Sister Uma says that the other way around, that y'all
in 1999, my brother, I was not talking about my dad or even concerned with what was going on with my dad. I didn't come. Let's be clear. In 1999, I was in New York dealing with the music business, not really concerned with what was going on with my father. I had stopped talking to him back in 1990. I saw him one time in that time, and then I just didn't bother with him. So I think he called my office. He called my office to borrow a couple $1 million. That's what he did.
Do you remember Ernest Eli?
What does that mean? Ernest
No,
Eli
I'm
is
asking you a question.
course
You
I
can
know
just
Ernest
say yes
Eli.
or no. Do you remember
It's a
Ernest
real
Eli?
Of course I know. You know Ernest
Oh,
Eli.
because he was there. He was there. And I'm sure if I asked him this, he's gonna confirm the same thing I said.
That Ernest, you think I'm gonna take the word of Ernest Eli, who screwed both your sisters? The pimp?
Look, I don't know anything
I'm gonna
about
take
that.
his problem?
I don't know
You mean
anything
the one
about
that was
that.
molesting your underage sister? That's the guy?
From
I'm gonna
what
take
I
his
know,
word for it.
I don't know
But
anything
I'm
about
asking
that.
you a question. The
I
guy
don't know
that was
anything
molesting
about
your
that.
underage sister, who was cheating on your sister who had brain damage and had a tumor. This guy who was manipulating your entire household. That guy
Well, I could
you think I'm
definitely
gonna
bring
care if he
other
confirmed it?
people that are more credibility, if that's the
Okay.
case.
You first of
There was
all, there was
definitely other
never
people there.
okay. There was never a time in 1999 or
And
1998 where I spoke to you negatively about our father at
yes,
all.
you have. Yes, you did.
Not
Yes,
in
you did.
1998
Yes, you
or
did.
1999.
Yes, you did.
It didn't
Yes, you
happen.
did. Yes, you did. The whole family and even
My
everybody in
brother.
the family knew that everybody in the family questioned why Jacob treat Umkhair that way.
I don't
Everybody
know
in the
who
family
everybody in the
asked that
family
question.
that questioned
Come
that,
on,
because I'm
man.
sure
People
that's
like
not your mother.
people like
Or your mother didn't
like
question that.
people like New York could tell you has experienced it personally and said, I don't know why he treats you like that.
New York
Are you
was
serious?
first of
Yeah,
all,
Izzuddin, New York is.
Izzuddin was not there
He
when
was
I
there.
when
He
you were.
was there.
Let me
He
finish.
wasn't there then.
Go ahead.
No,
He
go ahead.
wasn't there then. He
Yeah, he
wasn't
wasn't there
around
then.
at the time. I would go to Epis Field to see him and his brothers, just like I would go to Vanderbilt to see you,
So
Mahmoud,
y'all
and
lived with
Leah.
us. You mean you lived with us? Y'all left my mom's with a bunch of bills. What are you talking about?
I
You
don't know
and
that.
Fatima both.
I
What
don't
y'all did was
remember.
y'all came and y'all
I remember
freeloaded off
Christmas.
my mom's.
Hold up,
Y'all used to beat up on
York.
my little brother. Y'all used to beat up on my little brother
Beat
Mahmoud
up
all
on
the
your
time.
little brother,
Yes,
Hold
y'all
up.
used
Mahmoud.
to beat
I
up
never
on
touched
Mahmoud
Mahmoud a
all
day
the
in his
I gotta
life.
time
stop this.
when
I gotta
he.
stop this. I want to hear this, and I can't hear everybody. My apology. I have to mute you. Let me, Sister Uma. Let me let Brother Jacob York speak, and then you come up on the background. Let him, because I want to hear what's going on. It's all over the place. Let's hear your brother's position first. Let's be civilized and let's hear your brother's position, and then you come up on the back end and you respond. Let's do it. All right. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all taking time for this. Yes.
I've told this story only to people privately around me.
I got you, brother. So can you
My
just
only reason
give us your position so we can have it uninterrupted, and then we'll let Sister Uma York respond. Come on, big brother.
All right. Never beat Mahmoud up a day in my life.
Y'all hung him out the window.
That's a fact. That's not a true. I don't beat on my brothers. That's not a factual statement. None of my brothers can ever say I fought them or beat on them or anything of the sort. When they were on Vanderbilt, and that we had siblings. When my father had when people left the community, we had siblings. When I first left community, they moved on to a street closer to the community, and that's when I stayed with Awatif, because I saw her as another mother of mine, because she was one of my father's wives, and they were her children, and I was raised with them. They raised up as my brothers and sisters, so I continued that relationship, right? And then me and Awatif's other daughter, who's not from my dad, began to date. Ernest had his eye on her, right? He was a grown-ass man. We were a bunch of teenagers. He had his eye on her, but he was messing with the older sister, Latifah, God bless the day, right? So he was in the household as her boyfriend, but he was still trying to pray. I found out he was a legitimate pimp, right? And he was preying on Atia at the time. He managed to kind of create a rift between me and that household, so I moved on from that household. Right. I reunited with them. Like, I would make it an effort to come down for Christmas and see them and try to take them to the park, buy them gifts, and trying to maintain some kind of a relationship. If you got her mother in here, she'll tell her. Do you understand that? At the end of the day, I spent a lot of time with Mahmoud because their mom told me, like, yo, he doesn't have a male figure in his life. And so I tried to build that in his life. I never beat on him. I never hurt him. I mean, you tease your younger brother, and that's about as far. I would buy him gifts. She would tell people in the family she felt like I showed him more attention to her, and that was what caused our rift between me and her. She's medicated, so that's why she deals with what she deals with, right? At the end of the day, when it came to 1999, I was busy in my own world. I went to see my dad one time in 10 years because I saw him on TV in Brooklyn looking real crazy, and I heard he was going through something. I called him one day because of my brother Big Ish, and I went to see him in Atlanta. That was, I think, 1999 and maybe the year 2000. I didn't interfere or deal with that man like that. I had kind of put that in the rear view. He called my office because he did a meeting in New York with his kids. They all came up there. I didn't show up. He called my office. What happened to you? I'm like, I'm not coming to see none of that silly ass stuff. Like, I don't even have time for none of it. I wasn't even entertained by it. My life was success when I was doing me. I wasn't even bothering with that no more. And pretty much what he called me, well, I was trying to see if I can get some money. And I didn't know if he was joking or serious. I just left it at that. We laughed it off. I seen him in Edenton. I've been to Edenton once. I went to see him one time in Edenton. We talked for that day and I left. He said everything was good with him. I didn't see the guy again. The next time I seen him, he was on TV being arrested. We talked on the phone a few times, like, because when so I don't know where Khair played a part in this scenario. I know I seen Leah more because she was older, right? But there was no conversation in Brooklyn about Pops related to anything related to the case, because I didn't even know how serious the case was until I got to Atlanta.
Right.
So that's a fictional statement. I didn't know what was going on. I just thought he was dealing with a zoning problem. And I went to see him in Atlanta, in Edenton. We talked. I said, bro, didn't you go through this in Brooklyn before? He was like, yeah, but we're in the wrong zip code. So these white people, da, da, da. And I was like, bro, just give them what they want and move on. And I left. We joked, we laughed, and I left that place. I can tell you what I was wearing, and everybody on the land can say what they saw what I was wearing. I was wearing an orange fleece Nauticus outfit with a fucking Rolex on, and some white on whites. So I can tell you exactly. I can tell you what he was wearing. I can tell you who I seen down there and everything. So I don't know nothing about all that, having a conversation with Khair about Pops, because I really definitely would not be having a conversation with a 16-year-old or 14-year-old or 12-year-old about Pops. Like, I don't even get involved in that. I wouldn't even thought that she would be capable of even comprehending a conversation about Pops like that. And I didn't know how deep it was until I moved to Atlanta and I moved to Young Road. That's when everything started unraveling. I didn't realize it. It didn't unravel until we came back from Miami and everybody started talking about it. So I didn't even know how deep it was until then. So that's a fictional statement that she's making right there. Do you understand? The second part of it is, I know what she told me. Like, she can pretend as if, oh, I'd never seen him. We got into an argument because she made a comment. She joked and said something about me, and I told her she should have swallowed her kid, and she's been mad at me ever since that. That's where it came from. I thought I was joning with my sister, and she took it personal. I can send you the picture of me with her child in my arm at her house, at Fatima's house. That's the last time we really had a good relationship, from my knowledge. Some Mercedes-Benz, and I'm gonna buy you a Mercedes-Benz and move you, because if you go with me and go back again. I was living in New York City in 1999. I wasn't even living in Atlanta. So I don't know where she would have went with me to my condo on 54th Street. Like, that's a fictional statement. But see, the problem is people have been repeating these statements for so many years and no one's rebutted them. They've just been having the right to just say things, and they repeat. I never lured her into nothing. I didn't see Khair like, oh, Khair was always very quiet and to herself. So I always just thought she was a sweet kid. I never seen her to be anything other than that. So when I started hearing things negatively that she had been saying to me within the family and around people, I asked her mother, because I was always close to her mother. And her mother said, she takes pills, Jacob. Ignore her. And from that day on, I just stopped speaking to her. Because it's better.
So can we give her a second to respond?
Feel free.
And I hope you stick around to hear her response and don't dip out.
I'm not going anywhere.
Now, you keep saying you're a busy man. You're a busy man.
I'm not busy at all. It's 12 o'clock at night. I'm laying in bed watching Anthony Bourdain.
No, you ain't watching no Anthony Bourdain. You watching Moorish World TV. You better get it right.
Well, somebody, a few people IM'd me. That's what brought me in here.
Yeah,
I got an instant message. I never even knew what Moorish Right TV was.
But now you know it's Moorish World TV, and go and subscribe. So Sister Uma York can give you some truth. No, I'm just playing. Here we go.
Feel free.
Sister Uma York, respect.
Yes, hello.
The floor is yours. He's not going to interrupt you. And now you can respond, and you can lay out everything that you experience as well as qualify or disqualify something that the brothers say. And we are all ears.
First of all, I want to say I've never, ever in my life taken medication, and I don't even take Tylenol or Motrin now. I don't even take pills, period. So you're not going to try to label me as crazy like y'all been trying to do for the past couple of years, okay? That's one thing you're not going to do.
I'm sorry. I'm not labeling you as crazy.
Oh, brother,
I'm sorry.
No, that's the whole
I'm not labeling you as crazy. That's
listen, I don't. At this
brother,
point,
let's let her just flow. She got to flow. Uninterrupted. Go ahead, sister.
you know, and in regards to the picture of you with my daughter, that's why me and Fatima stopped talking, because I told her I didn't want your weird ass around my daughter. Period. I was gone when I was not, actually, I wasn't even in the house when you had that picture and you took that picture of my daughter. I would have never allowed that. If I knew you was going there, my daughter would not even be there. And that's why I stopped talking to her, because I started to realize what she was doing. She would have one person there and ask me, "Oh, can you watch my daughter?" You know what I'm saying? And me trying to be nice as a, you know, "Oh, that's my sister," or trying to rekindle relationships with this weird ass family. You know what I'm saying? I allowed her to do so. Now, she would literally come to my house where I was staying in the city, and late at night talking about she got cookies and ice cream for the kids. My husband kicked her out the house and she got mad. So that's that. And in regards to me, in regards to you saying, "Oh, I should have swallowed my daughter," that was years later. My daughter's only 7 years old. You get what I'm saying? So when you're speaking about something, I'm talking about something when I was a youngin', and you're talking about something when I was an adult. And yeah, you did disrespectfully say that to me, because that same night I went in labor. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, we did not have any good relationship for you to even say something like that. You were just being very disrespectful. That's all you were doing. You know what I'm saying? When I came to actually to show some kind of respect or just say hello to you for your birthday, you know, I was trying to rekindle the problems in our family, and which I've always done for the past couple of years, just for this family to show me they behind. But go ahead.
Sis, I wanted to ask you before I turn it back to Jacob. I wanted to ask you, when you saying that he's weird, what is weird? What are you referring to as being
these people don't know how to be a family, you
Oh,
know?
okay,
And you know, me being introduced to people that actually knew how to be a family, you know, I wanted that. I actually wanted to have a family with my own siblings. So I took the time out to want to know everybody. If you could go to my Uma York Instagram that is hacked, may I add, y'all can go through the pictures and see how I have so many pictures of me and different siblings, because I tried my best to have relationships with my siblings. Now, in regards to Jacob, all he's done was try to castrate me my entire life and don't want to be around me. "Oh no, this one thinks she's this and that." You know, and in regards to me being quiet, of course I was quiet, because I was watching everything that was happening around me, and it was weird. That's why.
Wow. It's amazing that out of all of this trauma, all of y'all seem to be, I mean, the ones that I met recently or that I've talked to, even Jacob, y'all seem to be so talented. And let me ask Jacob, anything you want to respond to that before I ask you a question, bro?
I agree with her. This family was not the family. So if you understand the hierarchy of the family, my father ruled by turning people against each other. So he played the women against each other. So if you want to know how it worked within there, as an older person that was around it, that was literally key in the middle, he played people against each other. And so a lot of his children related to their mother, right? As opposed to being related to their father, right? Genetically, right? So the family that everybody spoke of was still mother driven. Right? Some of the mothers were actual concubines, some were wives, some were sneaky links, some was this. So the kids sometimes, like, I have a brother named Ayub, God bless the dead, that I knew was my brother, but he was called Musa's son, even though he's a month older than me. And, you know, because no one needed to know what my dad did with his moms. What I always played him close, but he got treated different than me in the organization. Right? There was us that wore the gold crowns that were treated like his real kids. And then he would call some people diet kids. So he created an environment that was not conducive to have a family. Even though he marketed to the world that it was a family, it was certain people were close to each other and treated each other, and others were on the other side.
And
right?
y'all act like y'all were the royal family. Y'all act like everybody else were nothing but bastard children.
I didn't act like
yes,
anything.
y'all did. You, Fatima,
I didn't act like anything.
Yes, y'all did. The only one that was actually nice to everybody was Fadallah and Yadulahi, and that's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Was
you know what's
Fadallah
interesting about Yadulahi?
And Yadulahi. Those are the only people that was nice to people. And yeah,
well, most people wouldn't tell you that Fadallah was nice.
In regards to you buying
Yadulahi, yes.
I'm sorry.
Most people wouldn't say Fadallah; they'd say Yadulahi, yes.
Yeah, well, for the law was nice to me.
But Yad, you don't want to hear something further, brother? Yad was the heir apparent. I wasn't. Right? So I was so far from the crown. I mean, I wore a crown, but I was far down. So I was never going to be the heir apparent. So I didn't have a reason to be rude to people or treat people. One thing the brothers in the community would never say that is Jacob wasn't friendly and talkative and walked up. I was very nice to everybody. So Yad was really the royal prince, right? He was really the heir apparent, but that's fine. After years of people beating down someone's reputation and they don't reply, people begin to tell themselves things are true or not true. All I know is when I was in Khair's life, Leah's life, even Latifah, God bless the dead, who was a very close friend of mine my entire life, which is Khair's older sister.
She hated you.
That's not what she told me.
She hated you. I remember when she ran away and she slapped you. I remember that when she had an epileptic seizure and she ran out the hospital and she ran away and you was the one that was there and she slapped you and ran off. She hated you. Her best friend was for the law. It wasn't you.
You understand? You see my point?
It wasn't you. You was because you over here acting. You over here pretending like you somebody. You over here trying to act like you holier than thou. You are a piece of shit. And you always been a piece of shit. No, you are you. You.
All right.
You know
why is that being muted? Okay, so I've never been in the hospital.
I'm about to start muting people. I just wanted y'all to get that out.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
I've never been in a hospital room with Latifah in my life. I've never been in a hospital room with Latifah in my life. See, that's the
never went to go visit my sister, but I thought she was your best friend. So you tell me you would never go visit somebody in a hospital that's your best friend? That don't even make no sense.
Let me be clear with you. I've never been in a hospital. Latifah's epileptic seizure was in her room.
I remember used to have them in. Me and Mahmoud used to deal with that all the time. She had them in her room and she had to go to the hospital. I'm sorry.
When I see an epileptic seizure, it was in. Correct. So I don't remember her having an epileptic seizure in the hospital where she ran out and slapped me. See, I don't remember those stories because they never happened.
See, people don't realize kids are sponges. We remember everything. Where you sitting there forgetting while you partying with all these other people, you forget shit. But I still remember this stuff. It's okay though.
Okay, I understand. You can believe whatever you want. Latifah and me never been in a hospital together. That's a fictional statement.
You never picked her up from the hospital. Okay.
Me and Latifah did, is she was in the house and she had an epileptic seizure. One time we were joking about something and she actually had an epileptic seizure.
That's a lie. This is me and Mahmoud's story. That is me and Mahmoud's story.
I'm just telling you
regurgitating our story. Yo,
I don't remember you and Mahmoud even
You're a good actor. That's what you
are.
Fine. You can call me whatever name you want to act me because I'm indifferent to your opinion of me. All I'm saying is this. Latifah is your older sister, and I went to school with her, right? Whatever you want to paint, she hated me, this one, that's your opinion, right? All I know is this, is Latifah, when, had an epileptic seizure in her room. I remember that. I don't remember Latifah having any other epileptic seizure. I knew she suffered from a brain tumor and she had epileptic seizure, but I don't remember another epileptic seizure she had, other than one situation.
Do you think this seems kind of, hold on, let me drop a bomb on this. Is a good show. This seems kind of real
personal.
It seems personal, but it doesn't seem that serious.
Exactly.
It really doesn't seem that serious
at all.
Is it possible? And I'm going to ask Sister Uma, is it possible that some type of reconciliation can go? Because this doesn't seem that serious. I mean, now, granted, telling somebody they need to swallow their child and all, brother, that's petty and uncalled for. But
I thought we were joning on each other. Families join on each other.
Right. I get you. But now let me ask Sister Uma.
That's what I thought.
Sister Uma.
Huh?
Do you think this is really that serious where you and your brother Jacob would just abandon each other from communication? Because everything that I'm hearing, it doesn't seem. Now, granted, if that conversation happened in that the Bunny Rabbit bar or something like that.
I don't even know what Buttercup Lounge.
The Buttercup Lounge. I can understand that.
That sound like the Boom Boom Room to me.
It do sound.
I don't remember the Buttercup Lounge. I ain't gonna lie.
If that happened, then I
understand. Boom Boom Room. Huh? I wonder what happens in the Boom Boom Room.
It do sound like it's Buttercup. Like butter. I ain't going to no.
It depends on whether it's amateur night or not.
Oh, anyway. I wouldn't know anything about that. I was young.
Hold up.
There's a lot of people that don't think about those stories, though. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that come out the woodwork and talk about that one, huh?
I hope so.
You don't think that there is a space of reconciliation to some degree? Because this don't seem that serious.
Nah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I wouldn't bring my kids around my family anyway, so I don't see no point. If I can't bring my family around there, then I don't see no point. It ain't no family.
I got you. How about
maybe she built a family. Maybe she built a nuclear family in her life, and that works for her. You got to understand, it's about 100 of us. It's not the normal nuclear family. So at the end of the day, if there's hardship there or anger there or people having issues, I don't have the same recollection. Like it's stories that are told all the time about trips here and trips there, and this happened and that happened.
Trips to Miami, about how the people that was molested was taken on trips to Miami with you and Kedar and inside of his condo, and how y'all was sleeping with all of the victims and stuff like that. You talking about those stories? What stories are you talking about? Those stories?
So let's, you know what's so funny? You need this story to be. So Kedar had a condo in Miami already.
Now let me say this, Jacob. That sis, you brought it up. We gotta let them talk, and then you can follow up on the back end. And sis, don't get too.
Feel free. You can keep following up on the back end all you want. Because here's the reality.
Reconciliation tonight, hopefully.
So here's the reality. So everybody want to know the story because people write things and then believe it what they see on the internet because it's not true.
Right.
At the end of the day, you know how you grow up with a group of people, and you may not see each other for 10, 12 years, and then you run back into each other again, and you say, okay. I was producing events in Miami for All-Star for Memorial Day weekend for 8 years before then, right? Because I have a concert production company, so I was doing events there. This one year, we all ran into each other again and reconciled, and I said, "Why don't y'all just meet me in Miami? I'm throwing events the whole weekend." We never been. So we organized to go to Miami. A bunch of people that grew up from damn near semen together, right? Decided to go to Miami together. It wasn't a bunch of people being molested. It wasn't knowledge that everyone was molested that way or who wasn't molested. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, I had no sexual intercourse in Miami that weekend. I stayed on a completely different side of the hotel. And I'm kind of mad about that because usually Memorial Day weekend is the weekend after I finish producing my events. I get to have some fun. But I didn't have fun, right? Other people indulged, and I was kind of the party pooper. And if people want to tell the truth, certain underage girls were in closets with certain people. And I was like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's not what this trip was about. I was actually grandpa. Now, how did they get to Kedar's condo? My older brother was road manager and working for the Kedar at the time. And he was downtown at Kedar's condo in Miami. So he invited the people that he knew that he hadn't seen in years to come hang out with him there. There was no intercourse happening there. Joe was there. It was just come on, hang out with us. It was literally that. A couple of people did some things on the side, but nothing happened in Kedar's condo. Not from my knowledge because I wasn't there, but I kind of would verify what my brother told me. And the next part about it is it wasn't no trip to go do nothing crazy. On the way back is when people started. It was two different vans and people started talking and comparing stories. And one girl said to the guy, what happened to you? What happened? They started having those memories. And Pop said y'all left. Oh, Pop said this to us. Oh, damn, he lied to me. He lied to you. And then it trickled down from there. It wasn't no conspiracy. Everybody was just trying. I still, after that, produced events in Miami for Memorial Day weekend, Super Bowl, All-Star, and stuff like that. It had nothing to do with anything remotely related to him. It was a bunch of kids that knew each other from they were younger, took a trip for Memorial Day weekend to Miami. That's all it was. And a lot of people do that. So obviously a couple of people rekindle some shit from their childhood. I stayed, by the way, which I have receipts from the hotel, on the other side of the hotel because I stayed in the suite. They stayed on a different side of the hotel because the hotel was by Bell Harbor. And so you could stay at two different sides of the hotel. So I stayed on one side. I didn't want them downtown in the Miami Memorial Day weekend craziness. So I was like, y'all stay by Bell Harbor, and then I'll go down there, do my events, and I'll come back and we'll entertain. So I was there with my business partner, and we were doing events, and we would come back and forth. And I mean, we had a lot of fun. I hadn't seen a lot of these people in a long time. We didn't hang out with each other and have fun with each other since we were kids. So it was fun to hang out with people. It was very innocent. Obviously, if somebody goes and takes a picture, and you got people like probably the same people that wrote the Bible and wrote the Quran and wrote, great Game of Thrones. These people write books and then they make stories sound real. because other people who want to believe things believe, oh, that makes sense. This guy would have done this with this person. First of all, Habiba, Nicole, all of those people are just as old as I am. Ain't none of them underage. The only person that was underage was a girl named Farrah. She was underage. That's the only person.
If you allow me to interrupt, because this show was about talking about, you know, the cultural, I guess the cultural.
I can give you insight on that if you want that.
No, I want to ask you this.
Yes.
Have you ever been accused of being a part of some young? I don't know, brother. So I'm just asking. I don't know. Just because of the title of the show. Have you ever been? I don't even know you, brother. Because the show was going on, people are sending me texts and saying about who you are, your credentials, and what have you accomplished, and all of that. And I'm just getting to know you on the fly by what people are sending me through my phone. However, have you ever been accused of being a part of some type of sex ring, young sisters, sexual exploitation, anything like that? On social media,
on the Nawabian site. Yes,
I got you.
The Nawabians put up a site years ago that said I was this, I was doing. They put up everything. My dad got on DVD and called me a crackhead. People claimed I testified against them. I was, people actually claimed that I was a confidential informant, and I'm like, it was Wally that was the confidential informant, not me. If
so wait, really the shade room, the shade room never had something called Surviving Jacob York then?
No, so the shade room never had anything called Surviving Jacob York.
That's interesting. I seen it with my own eyes. I definitely seen it with my own eyes before. They took it down. They took it down, but I definitely seen it with my own eyes.
Okay. No, the guy that put up the Surviving Jacob York is a guy that said that, and would you like the screenshots? I'll send you the DMs. Is a guy that said that I slept with his girlfriend because he was broke, and so he got money. So he put up Surviving Jacob York because he felt bad because I slept with his girlfriend when he was broke.
Yeah, but there was so many stories underneath that. I don't know if you read all those comments.
It was a lot of people. It was many people defending me. It was one guy who's a drug dealer who said that when he was broke, I fucked his girl. That's where it came from. I have the DMs. You're more than welcome to. And he was like, "Yo, I was broke, and she fucked you because you was rich." And I said, "Well, you should never be with a girl." And I can show you the screenshot. You should never be with a girl.
One of my friends was the one that tagged me in it, and they don't. All they know
your friends can tag you into
these
anything.
People that's never even been in the organization.
I'm just trying to finish this. If you want to know, I have.
Hold up. Let's let him finish. I'm gonna let you flow, sis. I'm gonna let you flow. Let him just finish his sentences.
So the guy said that I fucked his girl when he was younger, when he was broke. And I was like, "Who's your girl?" He wouldn't tell me who she was. I was like, "Well, who is she?" "Well, she fucked with you because you had money and I didn't have money, but now I have power."
Can you try to watch the language so we don't get our channel straight?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you're right. I already had my guy at YouTube look at this, so it doesn't look. You're good. So at the end of the day,
who is your guy on YouTube, bro? Hold up. Who are you, Jacob York?
A guy that has friends that run YouTube. So be careful.
Did they hit the cash? Did y'all hit the cash app?
Shoot, not yet. Because you may need it if they keep saying the wrong stuff. At the end of the day, my brother, all jokes aside, some guy that said that he was broke and I fucked his girlfriend put up something called Surviving Jacob York, and he put up a bunch of shit saying this and that. He had no proof or anything, and he took it down. And then he told me he was just mad because I slept with his girl when he was broke. His name is Repo. You can look him up. It comes up. So again, people can think of mythical things to say. And it sounds good, but it's not factual. Okay. Facts is facts, and I asked, and fiction is fiction. If you want to know the story, look it up. His guy's name is Repo. Somebody shot him recently. He's been to jail a bunch of times. He's been through his own ups and downs, but he said he was broke, and I screwed his girl when he was broke. I said, I didn't even know it was your girl. I don't know who she is. He wouldn't tell me who she was. One of her mutual friends told me who the girl was, and I remember talking to the dude. Was like, you should stay away from her. She's foul. And I left it at that. That was the extent of it if you want to know what it is. But the Shade Room never ran anything like that. They wouldn't run anything like that because they have to have confirmed sources. It was just on his Instagram page.
Okay. Well, you might want to check some of the people that that's talking to people talking about you, but you've done some stuff because nowadays a lot of people just been talking and talking. So
yeah, they should stop because what I think is this is why I'm in here right now, right? Because someone said, Jacob, just say something. Because what happens is it's like someone repeats something and repeats something and repeats something and repeats something and repeats something. Like people are literally saying he was on the stand. I was never on the stand. I never testified. I'm not in the discovery. I'm nowhere in any of the paperwork. There was one, well, you could have been the confidential informant. That was Wally. Wally was the confidential informant. That wasn't Jacob. So we could just erase all of the conversations. The reason why Sheriff Seals said my name is because he was hiding Habiba's name. The only thing I went down to see Sheriff Seals for was to tell him he did not have to kill everybody on that land like they did to David Koresh.
What do you mean by that?
Because they hadn't, I knew, because I'm intelligent enough to know that the FBI had plans. I called Joaquin, I called Omar to tell Joaquin she better chill out because I had a person that was telling me what they had planned. I went to see Sheriff Seals and I said, this is not David Koresh. Smart man.
Yeah, but you know what, Sheriff Seals,
smart man. Very smart man. Very
Sheriff
smart
Seals
man.
wasn't the one that had
So,
the land
very
taken.
smart man.
The land was sold by the
ago.
people of the organization. And if you look at that paperwork on the land, there was a lot of people, including Habiba's father was one of the people that was on the land, was deeded, who it was deeded to. It was deeded to 9 different people. And I just find it interesting that a lot of those people also had a lot to do with the case too.
All I'm saying is this.
In regards
here's what I'm saying to you. I've known our dad. People ask me, do I love my father? I love my father. But I disagree with the fact that he's a pervert and he's a weird dude and he hurt children. But I still love my father. I just like what my father did. I had a very close relationship with my father. My father and me did not have any beef. The only time we argued was about other people and his mistreatment of other people. And that's factual. Habiba will tell you that. I mean, they will all tell you that. My problem with the whole situation is, listen, I disagree with it. Like if it could have been money laundering, I went along with everything else he did. Right? I just disagree with child molestation. I know what I witnessed with my own eyes.
I'm sorry, Jacob. Are you of the thought that your father was a child molester?
He's 100% a child molester.
And people are saying the same thing about you, though. People are saying that there was a person that got kicked out. Their whole family got kicked out of an organization. It was some kid that was retarded or something, that they said you was molesting some kid. As a matter of fact, I got a recording of it from some girl that sent it to me. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, why are y'all saying this? And I was curious why they would say something like this. But they said that they said that the whole family got kicked out of the organization because of them finding out you was sodomizing some boy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what was being said.
Okay.
I honestly didn't even want to say it.
So
what I said
let's be clear. What does that have to? Okay. So let's say everything you said is correct.
And it has a lot to do with everything. It has a lot to do with everything. People harboring child molesters. That's what this whole thing is about. About how the fact that people have been hiding, the fact that people been doing stuff to people in the entire organization because it's either family linked or anything. And let's be honest, it don't take a rocket scientist to do some math. Like I keep saying, you know what I'm saying? How sisters had babies at 14 years old by 40-year-old men, and then you got other sisters that had babies.
You should play the video. You should play the audio.
Hold on, I'll go get it.
Please, I have never heard this before. I'd love to hear it.
Oh my goodness. Family.
I'm gonna say this to you again.
I try not to talk about this.
Please talk about it. You should always talk about the truth. Never stop telling the truth.
No, it ain't even that. It's just that I don't know if that person was credible. So I
because they're not. Because no one ever got thrown out of the community because
but you know what? That person's always gonna be considered uncredible because she was also somebody that stated she was molested. She spoke about shit. I'm not speaking her name because she spoke about because
speaking my name.
The girl spoke about being molested.
My name is being spoken by me.
That's you, but you right here. She's not.
We're telling the
right
truth
here.
tonight.
She's not.
I'm
protecting her. No, because I'm protecting her. That's why I'm protecting her.
Hold on.
As my younger sister. It's fact. If anybody feels they've ever been molested by me, stand up now and speak.
There you go. Now
I'm down.
Let her play the demonstration.
Anybody can confront me about whatever I've done wrong.
Family, I want y'all to hit the thumbs up, family. This is very heated. I hope it can calm down so we can get hold up, Sister Uma. Let me move all this stuff out the screen, bring it back to the beginning, rewind. I'm hoping we can get some closure into all this. I'm not dropping the link. I'm not letting anybody else in. If you want to have this conversation tomorrow, because you are part of this community, I will allow you to have your say on tomorrow's show. But I'm not going to have a bunch of heated people in here that's a part of this family or part of this conversation just going all over the place. It's something to even hear passionate Jacob York and passionate my sister Uma York, and I don't see what they're going back and forth about being so serious, but maybe it will get to that point because something is missing. And so nobody else is coming in here tonight. You know, now you can email me, or if you got my number, you can text me and we can have a rehash of this conversation tomorrow, but not tonight, because Jacob York, he's fired up. Uma York is fired up, and we're going to get to the bottom of this conversation right here. That's what it is. So let me get sister Uma York back in, and now she's going to play a recording. Come on, sister.
I was going to say, you know,
the name of the person on the recording, because that could be anybody. Give me the name.
Like I said, you know, the girl said she was molested, and then on top of that, she mentioned that our brothers was also taking advantage of her. You know what I'm saying? Because she was a molested victim. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure it's not that many. How many people could possibly have been molested and was dating our brothers? Like, come on, man. Is it how many people?
I don't know who all of our brothers are.
Man.
I don't know. It's 100 of us. I don't know. So who is
come
it?
on, y'all playing games. No, it ain't. Let's be for real. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that y'all hang out with, as like you said, y'all as a crowd, y'all hang out specific. Y'all been blaming these victims for so long. You know, you don't know who to believe, huh?
I'm telling you what I saw our father do. This woman is telling you a story from someone that know me, that's some mentally ill child.
But we're not talking about her with our father. We're talking about you.
Okay, so let's talk about me. I started by saying I witnessed my father molesting people.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know. I couldn't have witnessed something like that. I would have told a long time ago.
Okay. So again, I witnessed what I witnessed. Correct?
Okay.
All right, cool. So you're telling me a story about someone who said they heard a story from somebody about a family. Fine. I don't know any mentally challenged people that was around me until I ran into people outside of the mosque or Med-E. So I don't know any mentally challenged people that I grew up with. I didn't grow up with a mentally challenged person. I have no clue what you're talking about.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's not what I'm talking about. This is what somebody else is
what she's talking about. I have no clue of.
Yes.
But you know what it is? Here's what it is. I come from a world that before you make an accusation of somebody, you need to be able to verify it.
Of course.
So verification is important to me. I don't know who that person is. For all intents and purposes, that person can just be slandering my name and saying things. They have no names. They heard a story from someone who knows a person that knows me.
No, they said there was a person that knows you. That's what.
But I've had people tell me they know me that I don't know.
I mean, sure.
And who's to say that person even exists? But I don't think that, again, no one's ever been thrown out of the community because of me. It's never happened.
So let me ask you, Brother Jacob York. You said that you witnessed, without the graphic detail, you say you witnessed your dad molest children.
Well, children would be people my age at the time. I was of that age.
Right. So without the graphic detail, how does that happen? Are you in the room? Are you?
Right.
How does that happen? Without the graphic, can you just give us an outlook?
Access that very few people had in the community.
Right.
I had a privilege to be through his house, through backstage, through back everything because of the privilege that I had. So I walked up in his house where, if you understood how upstate was, there was these sidewinder steps. I went up the sidewinder step and slid the door to his bedroom because when he was living in Brooklyn, I helped to build his house. I supervised it upstate. Right. So I knew his house. So I had access to everything. I go in the safe, whatever. I went in, and when you came through the bedroom, there was a bathroom. There was steps, and then there was a bathroom. And I heard him committing the act. I heard her crying, and I leaned over and I saw, and then I left.
Wow.
And never said anything about it?
Oh, of course I said something.
So you said, so what, did they just bury that too?
There was no burying. As much as you may think things were buried.
But how long have you known this?
He got to finish. Uma.
I'm sorry, I'm just disturbed.
Me too. That's why I want to hear.
But there was no burying. We're not that sophisticated to bury things. That's not a factual statement, right?
So I think what your sister is saying, what proceeded after you witnessed that?
Shock. Not that I did not know he was molesting kids or my peers, because we discussed it. So I knew he was molesting my peers, but what you have to realize is I grew up there, born and raised there. Molestation as a word wasn't as deep to me as it is now. It felt uncomfortable, it felt weird, but I didn't know how to handle it.
What was that conversation like?
With the young lady?
I know, with your dad.
Right.
What was that conversation about?
My dad told me that she grabbed my dick, so I had to let her have it.
Huh?
What?
She grabbed my dick, so I let her have it, was his exact response to me.
Even though she was screaming, you said? So I don't know, man.
Even though she was screaming and crying? Yes. Her name was Sophia. Feel free to call Habiba and ask her, Nicole, to ask about that scenario. Her name was Sophia. She was Ayub's girlfriend. He did it because it was his own son's girlfriend. If you want to know the real personality, because I knew him very well, he did it because that was his own son's girlfriend. Her name was Sophia. She was brown skinned. She cried. She was upset. She came to me about it.
And how many years ago was this?
Late 80s.
So that was in the 80s. That was when I was a baby.
Oh, 89.
I was a baby.
Of course. I left around that time. Why do you think I left? I couldn't take the mental anguish. I lost weight. I was skinny. I was depressed. I didn't understand what was going on. I was born and raised there.
Well, you was there till up until the 90s, according to that originator video by Jay-Z and what's his name, Jazzo. According to that was the 90s.
1989 and 1990. I left in 1990. I went around the corner to your mother's house. That's the first place I went. No, the second place I went. First place I went was an abandoned building where me and Noah slept in a tub. That's the first place I went. The second place I went is I came to visit your mother, and your mother told me I could stay there for a little while until I got on my feet. Because my mother was still in there. And I knew how cruel he was, so I didn't want to really rattle his feathers. But I didn't know how to handle it. We were taught that the kafiruns were out there. Don't talk to the cops, they're the devil. Don't talk to the white people, they're the devil. And I've known that my entire life. So I wasn't going to go to the white man. Right? So who was I going to go? I didn't know what 911 was. I didn't even know what a token was when I left the community. I'm going to tell you how crazy it is. Fatima was 18 years old when she got married. 18 years old when she got married. 18 years old when she got married. She got, they give you dowry. After her wedding, a few days later, she counted the money. She took the cash and she moved the rest to the left. My mother showed up to the house and said, "Where's the checks?" She said, "All those papers," I crumpled those papers up because they were ripped and threw them away because she didn't know what a check was. And she was 18 years old. I didn't know what a token was. I didn't know what I was doing. I got chauffeured back and forth to school. I had 24-hour security. I was a privileged kid. Who was I going to call?
I don't know, but I just want to mention something also. Even after, listen, I'm just speaking about this, because you finally admitted that you stayed with my mother. I just want to mention that y'all left her. Yeah, no, Vanderbilt too. Nope, y'all stayed there on Vanderbilt too. Nope, y'all did. Because y'all left, but y'all used to kick your mother out the house. As a matter of fact, she used to sleep in Mahmoud's. Yeah. Your sister used to kick. Your sister used to kick. Let's just leave that alone. Oh no, I can mention it. Your sister. No. This is a fact because I remember as a kid. I'm not gonna say like your family. When I'm saying y'all, I put y'all together like that mother.
I treated my mother like a queen.
I'm speaking about that mother. Well, there's been plenty of times that you definitely had your own place on St. James Street and your mom was sleeping in our house on 588 Vanderbilt Street where my little brother had to sleep with my mother. Your mother used to sleep with her eyes open. I remember it because she used to creep us out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all literally used to treat y'all mother bad, and y'all blame that on Pops. And that's another thing that was wrong.
Once again, my brother, that is not a factual statement.
And then another thing is y'all
That's
left
not a
my
factual
mother.
statement.
Y'all left you
224 St. James belonged to my mother.
No,
I
you
stayed
and
with her.
Fatima both, y'all left my mother with a bunch of bills. And even after you became somebody, you act like you didn't know who she was.
So let's deal with it like that. That's a very good. Well done, my brother. Very smart of you. Very smart of you. Keep it going.
Y'all
That's
still
what you
ain't
need
paid
to
for
do.
them bills. No, this is a fact.
So
I'm not
Fatima
gonna sit here and
lived.
lie. No reason
Fatima
to
lived
lie.
on that.
Y'all don't put no money in my pocket,
finish.
and y'all never did. Y'all don't feed
That's
me.
not true. I gave you money. I bought
When
you
you
Christmas
ever
gifts.
gave
I
me
bought
money?
you
Boy,
clothes.
stop
And that's
lying. You
factual.
ain't never
You
did
can ask
nothing
Mahmoud. You
for
can
me.
ask Leah. You can
You
ask
ain't
your
never
mother.
did
I
nothing for
understand.
me. You
I
have
did a lot
never
for you.
done
But
nothing
let's
for
not
me.
go there. Let's not go
You've
there.
never
You made
done
accusations
nothing
about
for
how
me.
I
You're
treated my
lying.
mother.
You're lying.
No,
If
no,
it was
my
because
mother
when I
was
was
my.
a kid, you
First of
bought me
all,
a Barbie
I
doll.
understand. You're right.
You
I
bought
did
me a
nothing for you.
Barbie doll.
I was horrible to you.
You bought me a Barbie doll when
Let
I
me
was
finish.
Hold up. It's getting.
Let me finish. I just want to say what I got to say. Fatima lived on Vanderbilt.
Let me respond. Let me stop this because I don't want to.
Let me respond, right?
No, I got you. You're gonna respond, but I don't want to disrespect either one of you, and I want to give both of y'all fair time to teach. And teach. I guess this is a lesson in this. So Uma, I just wanted to mute you. No disrespect, but I want him to respond about his mother because that is something would be dear to each of our hearts.
Yeah. By the way, brothers, 224 St. James 2R belonged to my mother. When I stayed there, I stayed with her.
Right.
So that's not a factual statement that's being made. Hello?
You good. Go ahead. You good.
No, you went out for a while, so I didn't know. That's not a factual statement. Now, whether Fatima, my sister, was trying to be, she was a bit rebellious. So she moved into Vanderbilt, right? My mother is probably one of the sweetest ladies you probably ever meet, right? She's very pleasant. We never kicked my mother out of the house. I never mistreated. I don't know what Fatima and my mother's relationship was. I treated my mother like the queen she was until the day she died. And so at the end of the day, I don't know what happened between Fatima and my mother. My mother had no reason to probably spend the night there because Fatima was there with Mimi, right? I used to go there a lot because Umkhair, Leah, Mahmoud, Fatima, Mimi, they were always there. Latifa was there because she was sick. And I've known Latifa since I was a baby. Those are my siblings. Do you understand? And I had a thing for Atia. And so I had many reasons to be there. I would spend the nights there. I had no problems with that. I had no problems with Awatif. She was very good to me, right? We maintained a good relationship. I don't know all this. I don't know who she is. I don't treat people like that, or I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Do you understand that? So that's not the truth. At the end of the day, stories have been told so long, and people see things like from a different perspective. And I'm not discrediting what Khair's perception of the situation was, because that's valid. She may have perceived my mother sleeping there and thinking, oh, she lived there and she got kicked out of the house. But my mother lived in 224 St. James belonged to her. It was under her name. It was not under my name. I lived on 31 Irving Place, right? And I would come around and stay with my mother in St. James, or I would swing around and go to Vanderbilt to see them, or I would go to Epis Field to see Izzuddin and Kalthum and all of them. I would go jump on a train. I would go to the Bronx. I just tried my best to be the best I could be for my siblings and my nieces and nephews, the best I could be. But I was one guy, and it's like a couple hundred people, right? At the end of the day, that's not the point at hand right now. Whether my mother lived at Vanderbilt. When I said I stayed with your mother, I was speaking about when she lived around the corner from Bushwick. That's what I was talking about. Because there was two different locations. It was around the corner from Bushwick. It's on Lawton Street, I think it was, where she first moved. And that's when I first stayed there with her for a little while, for about a month and a half or so. And then I moved into New Jersey, right? But I'm not, again, her perception is her perception. And I'm not going to invalidate how she might have seen that, right? But I'm going to say that my mother was never in a situation where she was ever mistreated by me, kicked out by me, or treated poorly. I couldn't kick my mother out of her own house anyway.
Hey, brother, do you feel that Uma York, your sister, was dealt a bad hand? Because I'm listening to you, and you say, you was kind of privileged, you was protected, you kind of sheltered. considering the circumstances, if you will. You know what I'm saying, considering that. Do you feel like Uma York may have been dealt a bad hand, and it reflects on what she went through, and maybe she could have been reaching out to yourself and others, and as she talked about Brother Polite,
I don't know. I don't even know who that is.
No. She talked about Brother Polite, how Brother Polite tried to kill her and her stepbrother. And when she came to the community, everybody turned their back on it. It appears that sis, every time she reached out to somebody, it seems like they're turning their back on her and not really hearing her. Not the help, but not even hearing her. Do you think that could be an issue with y'all relationship? That maybe you haven't heard her?
I can't say what her issues. I didn't know me and her had an issue in our relationship until it was communicated from other people to me. I had no idea. So I don't know if I didn't hear her or I did hear her. I know that if she reaches out to me, I'll pick up. I know at a certain point, I did not answer a lot of my dad's newer siblings.
Right.
But if I knew you from Brooklyn, I spoke to you. If you were the newest siblings that came off that land, I didn't really know them. So I really didn't interact very well with them,
right,
which I regretted, but I don't, because it's a lot of them. Second of all, when people speak of a culture of pedophilia within the Ansar Allah community, that's not a factual statement. There was no culture of pedophilia. There wasn't knowledge by everyone that pedophilia was happening. They were hiding it. What was the culture was a bunch of black people in the 60s looking at where the world was in the 60s, watching their leaders die, seeing apartheid, fighting. And these are a bunch of ex-Black Panthers, guys that wanted to build a world that was safe for their black children. A lot of times when building a world like that, they didn't do background checks. So murderers were let in, rapists were let in. They went out and propagated on trains, in gutters, in the streets, and they let people in and offered them a clean life. That doesn't mean that a pedophile wasn't let in, or two. That it wasn't a culture of pedophilia, right? That's the difference.
The reason why I describe
not in Bushwick. I don't know what happened in Edenton because I've only been to Edenton one time. I'm saying in Bushwick.
Well, you know this story. You say you don't know Brother Polite. Well, this story begins when a guy named Brother Polite supposed to be in the conscious community, and you know what the conscious community is, I'm sure.
Yes.
Supposed to be a part of this conscious community thing, and he goes from which would be the conscious community into Hollywood and hangs out with the stars, but then he begins to sexualize his experience by flaunting sisters, and now he's facing what would be in all intents and purposes rape of a 14-year-old, but it's lewd in the lascivious acts. But when it breaks down, it's basically rape of a 14-year-old, and so he was supposedly one who came out of your father's organization.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Never met your father, but
that makes sense.
Came out there, and so now your sister comes and say, "Well, I did the story here." And I did a breakdown of everything concerning the story. And so your sister comes out and say, well, yeah, this is the same guy that tried to kill me over the house in Bushwick. And the community turned their back on her. And so when we talk
about hear something funny, brother, can I interrupt you one question?
Yeah, sure.
Nothing happens around there without my father's authority. My father is the king of throwing his rocks and hiding his hand. He would have me go say things to people and pretend he never said it. He'd have sisters say things and put his own people out. He tried to put my big brother out of the mosque, and I stepped in and was like, I'm not letting that happen. He is a king of throwing his hand, so don't let him pretend as if he probably didn't allow those people to do that to her. Don't let him pretend. I know him very well. I don't know who Brother Polite is, but anyone defending my father right now is defending pedophilia. And at the end of the day, I love my father because I had a real father-son relationship. But if you are advocating or justifying his behavior in any way, I'm not surprised if you're a pedophile. And that's simply what it is. I'm sorry to say that to people, but you cannot possibly be so blind to say, oh, like I see people saying, R. Kelly, there was a bunch of women that did. I'm like, bro, Aaliyah was 12, man. I don't care what you say. I ain't sleep with a 12-year-old when I was 12. Like, it's not necessary. There's too many women out here. Right. All those boys and girls that my father abused deserve justice, and their voices need to be heard. And it's disrespectful to their pain to keep advocating for a person. It doesn't mean that the world can't exist where he taught something good and still be a pedophile.
Right.
You can literally make great music and still be a monster. And people got to understand, you can separate the man, because the Prophet Muhammad was a pedophile. He had a 9-year-old wife.
Well, we talked about that yesterday, right? And one of the things that I said is that we don't live in that world, but by today's standard, yeah, that is totally an error. But in that standard, with the state of mind, maybe that was an accepted practice. But in today's era, it's unacceptable. Listen, we don't live in that era. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care what today, tomorrow, 40 years from now, 40 years ago, you could take me 3,000 years ago. I see a kid. A kid's body is a kid's body is a kid's
body. And brother, I agree with you 1,000. I agree with you 1,000.
I'm going out. I'm going out.
But what I'm saying is marriage could be defined as something non-sexual, or I mean, who knows? I'm not justifying. I don't know. Back then, I don't know. But I know today it's totally unacceptable.
And back then, if you got pneumonia, they gave you leeches. Now they give you what? Penicillin. We've grown, evolved past that. There's no justification for it.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000%, bro.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Absolutely, sis.
So I noticed that when he mentioned that Polite tried to kill me, you know, you didn't have no reaction to that. Did you know about that as well?
I have no idea about it.
So this the first time you ever heard that Polite tried to kill me, even though the whole family knew about it?
I had no knowledge of Polite trying to kill you.
Yeah, Uncle Obar hid the man for
Uncle Obar did a lot for his brother, just like Waki does for his. Waki don't speak to me, and Uncle Obar don't speak to me because they blame me for Pops being in jail.
Oh wow.
So I don't really, to me personally, I don't choose between family. I'm your nephew. Your brother do some fucked up shit, your nephew ain't got nothing to do with it. Just because I did not take the side of my father when he molested 2-year-olds and 5-year-olds doesn't mean that I went against the family. Or I didn't. I'm just not going to take your side when you molest. I was molested. I'm not taking your side. I'm not taking it.
Let me share this. Brother. Let me share this before we wrap up, because y'all took me to another level. Listen to this. This is Brother Polite.
Let's say he molested 1,000 children.
Oh my God.
Let's say he molested 1,000 children.
Mm-hmm.
Factually. Okay. Genetic evidence and everything. Things that we don't deny. Scientifically, we say, wow, okay, true. If someone was to ask me, would you still worship him as your Most High, acknowledge him as your Most High God? I would have to. If someone was to ask me, would you still worship him as your Most High, acknowledge him as your Most High God? I would have to. Would you still worship him as your Most High, acknowledge him as your Most High God? I would have to.
This nigga's sick.
Well, guess what?
And that's Brother Polite saying that if it was proven, even with DNA,
they had DNA,
that Dr. York molested children, he said he would still acknowledge him as the Most High of God.
You know what? I hear something funny, and that's fine. That's fine. If you truly believe that he's the Most High of God, you know what? There's people that believe Superman is real. That's fine. That's your right. Right? You can separate the man from the belief, which I'm fine with. If people want to choose to believe the religion, then that's fine. The man can separate from the religion. The music can separate from the man. But when he uses the religion to hurt children, that taints it all. That taints it all.
That's a fact.
That taints it all for me.
And those people are nothing but culty people. So, you know, they follow whatever anybody say, they follow. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody said Baba said, then they followed it, you know, and that's something that I found disturbing. Like, you know, just like the thing with the harassment, being harassed and, you know, being in the courtroom by myself and there's 100 people protesting and standing up for Brother Polite. That's another form of that cult-like behavior.
But no. To be in there in logic, it's just black people don't trust the government. So they automatically think when the government takes down a black leader, you know,
no, he wasn't even a leader then. He was a nobody.
To them, he was. From what
No,
I'm
he
seeing
wasn't.
here,
I'm telling you, he was a nobody then. He was just trying to steal the house in Bushwick from me. That's all he was then. He was a nobody.
But if he's
then.
nobody, who's protesting for him?
No, that's the Nubian Nation. They was.
Let me tell you something, bro. I don't know what the Nubian Nation is. When I left, we were Ansar Allah community, Nubian Islamic Hebrews, and nation and Nubian Nation. So I don't know what the Nubians is. I remember us coming up with some language when we were back in 1989, and he said, "I'm gonna call it Nubic," and I guess that's where the religion came from. At the end of the day, if you need it, enjoy. But don't defend the man's actions. Just practice the teachings if you want that. Don't defend his actions. Don't sit back and say, these people are lying. I'm going to tell you something that I found out because I had a news reporter that would tell me everything. They said that the federal government did not present every evidence in that case for one reason and one reason only. The jury would have believed that there's no way in hell someone could be this big of a monster, and he might have got acquitted. Because they had so much evidence. Like I told you, they had Wali waiting in the background. That was the confidential informant. He admitted it to me. In the background. His right hand was coming out. He was never going to survive that one. But be aware of something. You know what? I don't agree with I agree with him being in jail, but I don't agree with in the method the feds used to put him in jail. I don't agree with that.
And what was that method? What was it? Racketeering or something like that?
See, this is what I always said to people, and I'm not knocking anybody because I forgave everybody because, you know, Habib, all of them apologized to me years later because I took the hit because they were the victims and I took all the hit. Jacob always stood up, right, for everybody because, you know, I didn't give a fuck. So what interesting to be about is the federal government, for the first time ever, put a religious organization on trial. They had never done that in the history of the United States. They charged the religious organization with racketeering. That's why they were able to do things. But how were they able to charge the religious organization with racketeering? Not because of church, not because of sexual molestation, because of the money laundering case, correct? Which Habiba helped to close on them. She corroborated certain testimony, and if you want to read the transcript, read it. She helped to close a money laundering case against him. That's why they protected her. Sheriff Seal did not say her name in that interview. He said, Jacob called me. No, Habiba was the person you saw. He never said her name. They protected her because she helped them to close the money laundering case. They needed that for the racketeering. And now they're using that precedence that they set with my dad to go after the Catholic Church in Pennsylvania.
So what was the ultimate conviction?
He would have went to jail for 1,000 years on the state side if he beat the Fed charge.
Okay.
He was done. The reason why the judge did not keep his case at the 15 years because he allocated. And they were like, you're bugging. We can't. I got to give you 30 years. And he rolled dice. He shouldn't have rolled dice because he'd be home right now. He should have took the 30 years. And with the Trump reduction, he would have done 60%. He's already done 20 years. He'd have been walking around right now. But he rolled the dice. And the Fed said, okay, we're going to get him on transporting minors across state lines, which we can get him on. We can get him 20 years on that. We're going to get him with the racketeering, the money laundering. We're going to get him with all that, criminal enterprise. And then the state said, if you miss, we got him already. He was trapped. He should have took 30 years. But people don't listen. He lived in a bubble. His lawyers wasn't even that good. And y'all in the Wobbies want to be mad at me. You should be mad at him and his lawyers. Because the judge admitted he was schizophrenic on the 730 exam. So how was he able to stand trial? How? A good lawyer would have said the guy's schizophrenic. Why is he even standing here? Put him in a fucking, there's a lot of things they could have done if they were smart. My mother beat charges for him before with good lawyers, not molestation charges. Racketeering, passport fraud, all types of shit. He got slapped on the wrist for. When he built a house in Bushwick on the top of the roof, the city came for him. The same thing he did in Edenton, he did in Bushwick, and they made him take it down. He was looking at mad charges for that. She made it go away. So it was him choosing to get rid of the good lawyers and bring in these idiots. And they drained his pockets, drained his assets, and he's behind bars because of it.
Jacob, would you agree to have I think you and Uma can get past some things. Would y'all have a conversation to because y'all don't seem, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's total bitterness right here. You know,
I don't have bitterness towards Khair at all. I have to defend myself because when my father turned on me, my family turned on me. So I retreated.
Uma.
Hello.
So I have no issues with anybody in this family.
Is it possible that you and at least you and Jacob could maybe come to some term to be able to at least be cordial? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, to be honest with you, you know, like I said,
because I think I want to say this, Sister Uma, before you go. I think both of y'all provide missing links that could help give each of y'all closure. However,
I got some closure for sure.
But Jacob seems to be a little older, that he's been around a little longer, and he may even provide you with some missing links to give you a more of a aha moment to understand the psychology of what you were going through as a youngster. And so, as opposed to the bickering, you know what I'm saying?
We don't bicker.
That's what I seen tonight, Jacob. What you talk me on bicker?
You seen me talking to you too. Making sure you put up that disclaimer.
Man, I ain't put up those. I ain't got this. I'm the grand sheik, Jacob.
Yeah, I got some people at YouTube.
I'm the people's grand sheik.
Listen, I'm the captain now.
No, I'm the people's grand
I am the captain now.
Listen, I can make a call to the universal creator and shut this YouTube all down. Don't play with me.
I want to see it. I want to see that. I want to see it. I want to see that.
Hold up. No,
I mean, at the end of the day, what people have to understand is you can't just get. A lot of people were caught up in emotions at the time. You got to realize, I understand, and this is why I stayed silent for so long, because I realized that people were taught by my father to believe he was God, and all of a sudden, white people came and took him.
But my thing is, I have a lot. Same thing I told you before. I have a lot of confidence in some of, and I like what you said. You said, you know, that's what you've seen, and I respect that. But this is what it is. I have a lot of confidence in Sister Uma's story because she told me the story behind the scenes before it went public. Behind the scenes, hours of conversation, right? And with that being said, she never gave me sources. She never said this, believe that, believe this, believe that. In my journey through social media, the internet highway, I'm starting to hear polite saying exactly what she said. Not anything about you, but I'm hearing things that your father on the phone saying exactly what she said. So it gives, like I said earlier, it gives some credibility to what she said because she didn't point me to any direction.
I agree. I don't know anything about that. What happened in Bushwick, I have no clue.
So now when you come on the phone,
tried to kill me over that house.
I have no clue about any of that.
So the whole family, I gave Fatima all the paperwork on it. I told her about it.
Yes, you know, Fatima told me about paperwork 2 days ago when she was here.
Wow. Mind you, I gave it to her years ago.
Well, feel free to call her. She just got back to Germany and she'll tell you. I told Jacob about it 2 years ago. I told Fatima I had lawyers investigating already. When my mother passed away, my father never divorced her. So he became the next of kin of all her properties. He used back channels to all his followers to liquidate all the assets.
Her name wasn't on none of the properties, though.
It was Fauzia's name was, yes, it was, but we'll leave it at that.
It was definitely Darka Muhammad.
Who?
It was Aissa's mother.
Yes, Fauzia.
That was on the property.
Now,
in regards to the rest of the
I don't want to incriminate her, but I'm just being honest and saying to you.
Yeah. In regards to the rest of the property, I have statements from people that admitted that there was a lot of fraud happening.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to say to you. He committed a lot of fraud, but he committed them. Do not let him backdoor it out and make it seem like other people did it. He did it.
Well, he admitted that it was them doing it.
He did it because I've done it for him. So I'm telling you, he's done it.
So you saying you committed fraud for him?
I have committed fraud for my father. Yes. We were building a nation. We committed fraud.
Wow.
What do you think? What do you think you ate food from when sisters went out and got food stamps and bought bulk food? Where do you think that came from?
I thought it was from the brothers propagating.
No, it came from food stamps.
Oh my God!
We had a food stamp program and people pretended like they lived at locations and then got food stamps. That's where food came from. Brothers propagating. Don't listen to the mythical stories.
Let me say this too.
We were charged with food stamp fraud.
Let me say this, Uma York, and let me say, and I'm not taking anybody's side, but I'm gonna keep it a buck. We have some brothers right here in Baltimore that I was a part of the temple, and for them to raise money for the temple, I watched them to say we're gonna use such and such food stamps to buy the food so we can sell dinners, so we can raise money and pay rent on the temple. When I came in there, I was an independent doing my own work, and I'm like, food stamps.
Okay, you want to hear the facts? How do you think we got those buildings? It was get down or lay down. People who didn't listen to us got burnt out of their built houses. We were building a nation. It was the 70s.
Well, I was young, so as you see, you said
wasn't born.
I wasn't even born. So
some of us had to fight battles. I didn't have to fight battle. I was the emperor. I did what I want, but the rest of them fought battles. And so you got to realize, to get those houses, that neighborhood was Puerto Rican gangsters and Scottish and Irish mob. We burnt them out. We fought them. We shot out with them. We got the buildings. Why do you think they had security and people on top of the roof with guns and CBs? It was the 70s, and we needed to have our nation. Banks got robbed. They didn't tell you about the damn city councilman, Mrs. Green's husband. Someone shot him in the middle of the street because he was making a stink about our takeover neighborhood. Hashim shot him. You want to talk about it? The feds had so much on this man. The feds had a whole big thing to take him down.
Wow.
They did what they had to do to build a nation for their kids in a time when America was killing black people. That's how they saw it.
Right, but I didn't know.
Child molestation was just a line.
I was out of the loop so long that I didn't know anything about this. All I know when I see the land, you know what I'm saying?
Child molestation was the beginning of the end for that mosque. When Pops took 2 wives that were mu'minatis, that was the end. My mother picked up.
What is that, brother? So we can know. A woman.
There were younger girls that were raised that were supposed to be married to diplomats and all of that. And one turned 18, and he took both of them as his wives. But they were raised as young sisters in the mosque. When he did that, was the beginning of the beef, because they were supposed to marry on. What it is he sold this idea to their parents that when they got to a certain age, he was going to pay for college and he was going to take them here and do all this stuff. And eventually you had 40 kids that was of age. He ain't want to pay for it. So everybody had to he found a way to get out of paying for all of that. That's what a hood nigga that's a slick nigga do. Let's be clear. He was a gangster.
Brother, would you email me? I think you and Uma can talk, and we can take this to a real story.
The thing about it is, I think if Uma and me could talk, it can easily be resolved a different way.
But brother, what I would want to do is, I speak to Uma frequently, and I would love to be on three-way so we can get it done.
I wouldn't want you involved in that one.
No, I don't want to. I
don't want you involved in that one. Let's talk about the mosque. Let's talk about my dad. Let's talk about all of that.
Listen to me.
That'll be taken care of on its own.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I just think y'all. I'm listening to y'all now. That I think y'all can work this out. I'm listening. You know what I mean? I think everybody else is listening too. You know what I'm saying?
I think that it's not about she and I. I think it's about her trauma and my trauma.
Absolutely,
within the organization. But I'm 48 years old, so I've been around a little bit longer, right? And I've seen a little bit more, and I can give closure to her questions. But I'm telling you straight up, and it's vice versa.
But you're an intellectual bully too, because you speak real strong and try to overtalk people. That's why I said what I said.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, and you shouldn't do that with somebody who's been through the things that she went through.
I
don't think you do it intentionally. I don't think you do it intentionally, because intellectual bullies, they so used to being hard driven. They're go-getters. They're strong-minded. They don't realize that they're doing it all the time.
You kept using that mute button, so I had to come strong at you.
So I'm an intellectual bully too, but I bully the bully. It's different.
Not this bully.
I'll bully you anytime. What are you talking about?
Never.
So I have another question.
Never been bullied in my life ever.
Do you know Basil Muhammad?
Me?
Yeah, do you know him?
I just was told who he was.
You just was told who he was?
I don't know who it was. Somebody had to give me a different name for him. And I was like, yeah, that's the guy that Ayub used to
So
monkey, right?
Damien, yeah, him, yeah.
Yeah.
So technically this conversation was technically about him still walking and still being able to travel however way freely, and he's a child molester, known child molester, and no one's doing anything about it, as well as the organization knowing about it and no one's doing anything about it as well.
Press charges.
You know, so
press charges.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People have tried to press charges, and for some strange reason, you know, he seems to either be an informant or something, because they're not doing anything about it.
The last time I remember seeing him, I remember Ayub used to bully him all the time, and I felt bad for him. And I think Ayub was like screwing his wife or something.
This is just too much. Oh my God.
I don't know.
This is a whole lot. But Jacob York, listen, it's 1:18 on the East Coast. Brother, email me to hucklebear@gmail.com so we can actually have that conversation if you wish to. Or should I
with Leah? I mean, you mean with him?
No, you and I.
You're not getting in the middle of that one.
No, you don't listen to me. I say you and I about your experience with the Ansar Law community, brother.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to pay me for my next interview.
And I'm not paying you nothing. You're a millionaire. What are you talking about? We trying to.
I just stepped in because I had a sister in here. Other than that, I don't come to these things.
We're trying to awaken the people. This ain't for kicks and
why can't y'all just beat Basil up then?
Because that's not going to solve it. Him beating him up still not going to stop him from going somewhere and molesting another child.
You for a raggedy story. Hey, hold up, Uma. I'm gonna pay you for a raggedy story. Are you insane? You're a millionaire. You should be wanting to help the community heal from all the trauma and damage.
Advertising dollars. You asked for Cash App.
Huh?
You getting Cash App money?
That was a joke, brother, to you. I don't want your money. I don't want your dirty, bloody money.
My money is bloody too.
But I want your dirty, bloody money for it so you can give me some energy over here. You done lost your mind.
Great. It will make it. I want to use the enlightenment that you need, my brother.
I want to use. You just told me about your bloody money, how you got.
I didn't inherit no wealth from my father. All my money was made by myself.
I don't want your bloody money.
I inherit no wealth from my
industry where ain't nothing but bloody money. You keep your bloody money to yourself. But what I would like to have is your.
I got Bitcoin money.
Hold up. What I would like to have is your story to help the people that may have experienced this. And this won't be the last time that one comes in our community and try this again. And so therefore, maybe we can put the energy out there so the future generations know which way to look.
You're doing that button thing again.
Absolutely, because I'm the bully. I bully the bully. What you talking about?
You can't bully the bully, you just pressing the button.
That's right. That's how I'm bullying you. I press your button.
That's not a bully, because I can press a button and somebody from
I wish you go bully you. But let me tell you something. Shut up and go do it, punk. Get out of here. Let's go. That's how I do chumps. Press the button, punk. I can't stand fake tough guys.
Yo.
Press the button on YouTube. I don't care. This how you do stuff like that. To me, brother. And I'm sorry. I apologize, family, but I don't do chumps too well. You know what I'm saying? Especially this type. I'm a millionaire. I'm arrogant. I'm a millionaire. I'm a and over talking the sister. And I know people in YouTube. That's what suckers do.
My thing is, if y'all you knew
that's
that
what suckers do. Always talk about who they know. Always talk about how tough they are. Always talk about how much influence they have. You's a punk to me. When you see me, you see me. I can't stand chumps like that, man.
My thing is, if this happened in the 80s,
I know people at YouTube like I care. I don't care about the people you know at YouTube. You got to be kidding me. And I was being patient with you, but the patience has ran out. Now call your people at YouTube, call your $1 million lawyers, call all your people and do what you do. Because you's a chump to me. That's how I do chumps. Don't talk slick to me.
You know,
listen. I can't stand people. That has this idea that they know people and that I need a medium like YouTube. I use YouTube. I don't need YouTube. I use YouTube. And I use YouTube to interface with the people to try to help people that may have experienced this type of behavior or that may experience in the future so we can do some critical thinking. But I don't need YouTube to do that. I can do that on my block in Baltimore. I use YouTube. That's a difference. And so I don't need you on the channel either. Let's go, Uma. The floor is yours, sis. Take us home.
Yeah, I just, you know, it's bothering me in the back of my mind that, you know, he's watched this happen since the 80s. And, you know, my father got incarcerated in 2002. So that, like I said, you know, people have known so much and they just haven't said anything for so long and that's a problem, you know, not just from him, but just from everybody else that was in this organization that could have seen a child get hurt and not have done anything, you know, and I'm bothered by that. Just that by itself is just bothering, you know. And in regards to clarity, yeah, you know, if you've seen this with your own eyes, then you know that's a clarity to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need any more words for somebody to say that, you know, because after just hearing this and hearing that from different people, you know, it's different compared to hearing somebody say, I've seen it with my own eyes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And then, you know, it kind of confirms other people's stories as well, you know, and yeah, like you said, you know, it's just puzzle pieces that, you know, needed to be put together.
And I was serious when I said I think that y'all, I really think that y'all could get past y'all grievances. I think y'all haven't talked enough to really see things, especially you, to see things, to bring, you know, fill in some of the blanks. But at the same time, I also believe that that the brother is still in a hurt place too. You feel what I'm saying? He may talk that tough stuff, that tough talk, but I believe he's still in a hurt place too, for whatever reason that may be. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like, you know, there's no real clarity when people automatically come up here and say she's on medication and don't have facts.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
I felt some way about that too, because to say somebody is on medication and you haven't seen the person pop a pill. But
that's a fact.
Why would somebody say that's a disingenuous and to even to be that disingenuous about something that petty? I mean, if you petty about something that small, what else you being petty and disingenuous about?
You know, a lot of things, but you know,
I mean, that's what I listen for. That's what I listen for. Like, how in the world is that significant? Oh, they said she on, and did not say it once, because I know how psychology go. You saying a thing over and over and over and over and over and over again, and then what'll happen is people will start repeating it.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what's been happening. Everybody in that whole organization, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's this, you know what I'm saying? But the reality of it is, the funny part is I'm probably more secure than almost all of them in that organization. And everything that I have of my own, I've done with my own sweat and tears, you know what I'm saying? And worked hard for it, you know? So
if people are on medication, I mean, that doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. Like I said,
if you're not,
I've never been on medication.
But that's my point. If you're not,
yeah, I've never been on medication.
It's just like if somebody is of the rainbow crew, the LGBT community. If that's who you are, that's who you are. But if you're saying somebody is that and they are not, that is not cool and it's disrespectful. And, you know, that shouldn't be thrown out there like that. And that's the same thing with anything else.
But remember what I told you, I'm used to it. The organization, family, I'm used to it. You know, at this point, I've been used to it. So stuff like that doesn't really bother me. I'm really at the point where I don't care. It's just you're not going to stand here and tell a whole bunch of people that I'm on medication, and I've never been on medication ever in my life. Like I said, I hardly take Tylenol. I've been in car accidents and still have all of my pain prescriptions because I don't like taking any prescriptions. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm like, herbs will work. Herbs work. You know, I will figure out a way.
You seen the show? You seen the show with Unc from Aben Ross?
No, what's that?
Because you had to debate him. He talked about Herbs can't do nothing. He you know.
I don't know about that one. You know, I
I
don't
know.
know
I'm an herbal guy myself.
Yeah, I literally grow plants. You know, I have different plants in my house that I grow that are herbs. You know, so I don't know. I can't agree with him. You know, if I feel like I'm coming down with something, I got some mint leaf right here, some spearmint, some soursop. I have a whole herb cabinet, so I ain't listening to somebody like that. You know.
That's what he always said. Is your husband still around?
Oh no, he went to bed. He got work. He's like, please. He been told me get off the line.
Well, I wanted to ask him if he had anything he wanted to say in close, but I supposed to be talking tomorrow. And again, Jacob, you can always hit me up at taakabay@gmail.com, and we can still hear your story. But one thing we're not going to do is play the intellectual tough guy game, because I could care less about your story, because it sounds like you don't want to give your story to try to help people. Anyway, I can't pay you enough. You got your own money. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing I can pay you. So the only thing you can do with the story is help people.
In fact,
you know what I'm saying?
And I mean, you got so much money. Why you got lawyers looking into a building that was committed by fraud? That don't make no sense.
That doesn't make
no sense. It sounds like you looking for something too. It looks like you're looking for a bag, because I have my own house. Y'all people have apartments.
Exactly. And I ain't got no money for you. You know what I mean? I ain't got nothing for you. Only thing I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna pick up my drill tomorrow and go do some maintenance work on the house. That's all I got for you.
I'm gonna go back to sewing. I'm gonna clear my mind, and what it normally does help me to think. You know, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But I appreciate you.
I'll hit you up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll check my email again. If anybody that was in this conversation, and I'm glad I didn't open the line up, because I got a feeling that it would have turned into some type of disrespectful thing, and that's one thing I don't want to do.
It would have been his cult coming up here talking about you know, because in the family, just like what he said, how they're all grouped up, and this one know that one, and this one know these. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. That whole cult mentality just spread it in the family as well. You know, oh, these are the favored ones, and these aren't the favored ones.
Yeah,
you know,
all that type of stuff.
Yes, it's a disease. Literally, just spread it in that family. And you know, I'm happy I actually got the opportunity to, you know, live outside in the regular world with everybody else. So I got an opportunity to see it from another standpoint, you know. So I'm actually happy for that, you know. At this point, I kind of appreciate, and I've even said it to my mother, I appreciate all the things that I went through in my life, because it made me the strong person I am today. And it made me acknowledge all the things that I see now, you know. And heck, this is where I stand, you know. And I really just, I don't want, what I don't want is, you know, the whole purpose of this to get lost and confused. And the whole purpose of this was to expose the fact that, you know, these people in the organization, and not everyone, let me say the head people in the organization have been hiding pedophiles. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to people like my aunt, you know what I'm saying? All these people, they know of something, including the family know of something as well, you know? And shoot, I remember years ago, a couple of years ago, I did a video on my Facebook about, you know, the abuse of my brothers, you know, and there were a lot of women coming out and speaking about how they were abused by my brothers. So, you know, hell. Wow. I mean, there's a YouTube video going viral with my brother being disrespectful to me online, you know, thanks to my name, Uma York, being streaming now, you know, that this YouTube video of my brother being disrespectful. So you see that there's a history of, you know, brothers, what's his name? Lookman. There's a history of brothers that are just very disrespectful in that family. You know, like I said, even when it comes down to, you know, Ramesses, Prince York, you see the disrespect, you know, that the way that he is with women, and the way he had, you know, he has a charge himself that people could research, you know. So you see that, you know, there's something completely wrong with this family, and people are just brushing it up under the rug. And that's just what it is, you know. They can all hate me all they want. They've been hated me. I don't care. I'm going to speak my truth no matter what. Y'all can all kick rocks. Hey, it is what it is.
Thank you, sis. And I'll speak with you tomorrow and your husband tomorrow. And we move on to getting people this information that may help and help heal. I appreciate you, sis. You have a good night, sis.
All right, you too. Good night. Peace and love, brother.
Peace and love. So, family, I did not mean to go this long. I want to thank Jacob York for tapping in. Even though I think that he need to consider how he chooses words. You know what I'm saying? Because I could care less what you know and who you know at YouTube. I don't care. I really don't. I really don't. But I do think that his story could help people also. You know what I'm saying? But I really don't. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. I am that type of person. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank everybody. Let me see if y'all hit the Cash App. I want to thank y'all that hit the Cash App. My friends, M. Nugent, Bertha, Cryptonomic, Israel Bay. I also want to thank my brother Akron, hiphop.com, and everybody else who ever made any contribution, a share, a like, because this is all about getting the information out. This is not about what people think it is about, you know, all the hype and all that. And also, I want to also thank, hold up 1 second. Let me stop this. I want to thank Silly Rabbit Productions for coming. I want to thank him one more time. Salt Pepper Gold Teeth for providing us with the bomb sound effect. That's it. That this Salt Pepper Gold Teeth. I want to thank them for providing us with the bomb effect in association with Silly Rabbit Productions. The applause. Salt and Pepper Gold Teeth. We want to thank them for our sound effects tonight. And I also want to thank you for all your shares. And I'm going to tell you, family, if you don't know, now you know. This was a monumental show. Thanks again, even though I had to kick him out because he got too smart, Jacob. And I want to thank the husband of Uma York. I want to thank each and every one of you. And family, I'm going to tell you, whether they like it or not, whether on YouTube or on TubeU, you know what I'm saying, it's going to be. Hey! I be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember. I be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember, that's right. I be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. You a friend of the Moors, then you a friend of mine. I was told to watch my enemies, now hold my line. Those that speak against the prophet, they speak against me. And I'm speaking about the prophet over Drew Ali, who was the first to remind you and bind you back to Morocco, the mountains, Mississippi, and Quebec. Told you you wasn't black, proved it with straight facts. You tripping off trucks, you need to be tripping off that. Now here we go again, acting like you a slave. The same people talk European how to bathe, and looking at women buying European hair. No love for self, but do the men really care? Hell no, cause they got a love for Europe. Whole generation chasing pills, weed and syrup. Yeah, they love Lil Yachty, Tucci, Gucci, Kodak, Amigos, Ross, Lucid. But where the love for the woman look like your mother, I guess they say it's all black when it's under the cover. Now cypher, I be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember, that's right. I be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember, that's right. I be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. All you super scholars holler, this era for the workers. You ain't building on the ground, then you worse than a twerker. You look and sound good, but that's only on the surface. Probably working for them people. Now tell me what's your purpose. Ain't worried about your homie, but know that I know every mo that rock a fast. He ain't my bro. Yeah, you know I ain't slow. I seen it all before. How they try to kill the prophet, it was all for dough. And some got it right now. Don't say that I'm not down. I'm coming for my vast estate. I want my town, my sheriff, my stores, my school, my nation. Sick and tired of the procrastination and debate. Y'all keep hating when love is the savior. You don't love yourself, so you can't love your neighbor. That's why you kill and fight and marry out of your race. If you ain't for Moore's world, then get out of my face. Cause Chinese love China, Italians love Italy. If you used to love the Moore's world, come on and build it with me. Let's go. I be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember. That's right. I be that more you gon' remember. To Hawker Bay front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember. Oh yeah. I be that more you gon' remember. To Hawker Bay front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember. Be more. I be that more you gon' remember. That time. I be that more you gon' remember. To Hawker Bay front line till the law call my number. I be that more you gon' remember. I be that more you gon' remember. New York. I be that more you gon' remember. To Hawker Bay front line till the law call my